They say everything is bigger in Texas, and in the case of the world-class Circuit of the Americas in Austin, they were right. This winding 2.4-mile road course is the scene for Race 3 of the 2026 NASCAR season. Through 2 races, no one has been able to beat Tyler Reddick. And for the last year, no one has been able to beat Shane Van Gisbergen on road courses. So who will take COTA by the Longhorns today to get a Texas-sized win? It's Race 3 of the 2026 NASCAR Cup Series season. It has already been a great start to the season for Tyler Reddick. Today it could be a historic start to Tyler Reddick's season, but he's got many drivers to beat as NASCAR comes to a road course for the first of 4 times in 2026, this time at the state-of-the-art Circuit of the Americas in Austin, Texas. Welcome you to coverage here at COTA on both the Ultimate Sports Media Network and on JB Motorsports as we get ready to go for what should be a spectacular race. 2 races down into the season, and the championship standings look like this. Tyler Reddick with a win in the Daytona 500 and last week in Atlanta. He has a 40-point lead on teammate Darrell Wallace Jr. Chase Elliott is 3rd. Carson Hocevar and surprising Zane Smith round out the top 5. The top 16 make it into the chase for the championship at the end of the first 26 races of the season. Maximum point game possible in one race this season is now 76. So Tyler Reddick off to this great start of the season, winning the Daytona 500 and then winning race 2 at Atlanta after not winning at all last season. And that creates that championship situation. Now, of course, it is extremely early, and now we get away from the super speedway drafting style races from Daytona and Atlanta to a totally different genre of racing at the road course here at Circuit of the Americas. I'm joined, of course, as always, by Matt White. Matt, glad to have you with us again, and road course.
The season really hasn't begun yet, has it? Because we've had 2 super speedways and now a road course before we get to some proper oval stuff starting next week. But yes, new package for short ovals and road courses starts today, and it's thrown a bit of a spanner into the work through practice and qualifying. We'll tell you about a slightly topsy-turvy grid for this afternoon's race.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting start to this race, no doubt about it, after qualifying yesterday. Well, this Circuit of the Americas racetrack, it is a wild racetrack, of course, initially built for Formula One. NASCAR has only been here for the last 6 seasons. This is the 6th running of a NASCAR Cup Series race at Circuit of the Americas. Let's take you through what a lap around here and around this racetrack looks like, because it's about as technical as a road course as you could think. Certainly not a street course.
Right side.
Ride, Matt, and this long front straightaway over 3,200 feet long and 133 feet of elevation change. And when you get to the end of the straightaway, how about this turn one?
One of the slowest corners on the whole calendar, and we're going to have 37 cars heading towards it on every single restart today. Then it's back down the hill and through the first right-hand corner of the lap, which is turn 2, under the footbridge and into the S's, where track limits will be a factor today.
Track limits always a factor here. You cannot have all 4 tires outside the white line in any of these S's, but that's the only place where track limits will be judged at today. Now this section, Matt, this is the second year we've run the short course, which gives you this very tight chicane, and you dance the car and sashay it onto the back straightaway, which is normally very long. Here it's very short, and another heavy braking left-hander.
Yeah, we've cut half the racetrack out that we know from Formula 1 and MotoGP around here. This racetrack over, this is the second year of coming to this loop, and then we're into the stadium section. Slow, technical, not much room to manoeuvre, but many passing opportunities at the same time. And this left-hander we're heading into now is one of the key overtaking spots on the whole racetrack, and there'll be plenty of contact and cars running wide out of here as well.
Yeah, absolutely will. And then of course this right-hander where you just try to keep the throttle down as much as you can without losing the rear, which as you can see here is very difficult. Then into turns 19 and 20, heavy braking left-hander here. No track limits here, so you can sling the car wide right there, although you will lose some time perhaps. Then the short chute into turn 20, another heavy braking left-hander, which leads you back on to the main straightaway. That is a lap, and they are wild laps. That is a lap around Circuit of the Americas in Austin, Texas. Well, Matt, Tyler Reddick, familiar spot for him is P1 to start this season, isn't it? He won the Daytona 500, he won Atlanta, and yesterday he won qualifying as he'll start on pole to try to do something that's never been done before.
Yeah, it's all coming up roses at the moment for Tyler Reddick, of course, winning the 500, then metricked his way to the pole position at Atlanta last week, and then came back to get the win after damage in the late laps. 2 from 2. It's never been done before, as you mentioned, going 3 from 3 to 20. And we are looking at history potentially today.
We're about to go downstairs for pre-race ceremonies as we draw closer to the Duramax Texas Grand Prix in Austin, Texas.
That was no more evident than overnight in Austin. Today, we send our prayers to the victims and their families from last night's shooting. We also pray for the Austin Police, Fire, and EMS members who serve and protect us every day. For all of those impacted by the overnight tragedy, please join us in a moment of silence. Please rise as you are able. Remove your hats, and veterans render a hand salute as Austin Travis County EMS Color Guard presents our nation's colors. Here to offer today's invocation, please welcome Austin Travis County EMS Clinical Specialist, Tim Morrison.
Would you bow your heads with me, please? Father God, we thank you for this day and for bringing us together at this track. We ask for your protection over every driver, give them steady hands, sharp focus, and bring them safely to the finish line. We thank you for these fans and for the freedom to gather and enjoy this great sport. Lord, watch over our first responders and military as they serve and protect as you do us. And above all, we give you glory for your Son, Jesus Christ, and for the salvation won through his sacrifice on the cross. Let today be filled with safety, sportsmanship, and unity, and let all we do honor you. In your mighty name, amen.
Here to perform our national anthem, please welcome from the City of Austin Public Safety Strength and Conditioning Coach, Sebastian Olave.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming. And the rocket's red glare, the balls bursting in air, gave proof through the night us that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave.
Ready to go here in Coda, and of course, it just here there. It has been a very turbulent last handful of hours in Austin, Texas. Very turbulent times, just in general. As you likely know, hopefully we'll take your mind off of all of the outside goings on for the next couple of hours as we bring you this NASCAR Cup Series race here at Coda. We will talk more about the makeup of this race here in just a moment because this is another Coda race, and Kyle Petty will tell us a little bit about it.
Handling when navigating the 20-turn course. Drivers will be taking the national configuration at Dakota, which is a 2.4-mile road course with changing elevation and strict track limits that drivers must adhere to. With limited passing zones, restarts will be chaotic, especially in the challenging Turn 1, as drivers climb 133 feet only to immediately take a sharp left-hand turn and battle for the overall lead. But don't take my word for it. Let's hear what last year's winner, Christopher Bell, has to say about racing at Coda.
Coda just has a little bit of everything. You have some fast-paced corners, you have some really slow corners, and certainly a lot of runoff. Some of it is usable, some of it is not usable, and you have to really mind your P's and Q's, especially whenever you get through the S's, where it pays a lot of dividends to use up all of the racetrack that you can. The restarts are very difficult. Turn 1 is just, it's chaos. It is really wide on corner entry, and you have to be the aggressor. If you're not the aggressor, you're going to lose positions like crazy. So you got to establish your lane and then hope that you don't get, run off the road whenever it comes exit and it gets a lot tighter over there. So you got to be on offense, otherwise you're going to be going backwards.
Who's going to make it to victory lane this year? Will Christopher Bell take the trophy for a second year in a row? Or will a road course expert shine in the turns of Coda? Get ready. It's time to find out.
Well, obviously, this race has a very heavy favorite. His name is Shane Van Gisbergen. He's won, of course, the last 5 road course races in the Cup Series. So he's the heavy favorite for good reason. We've already talked about Tyler Reddick and what he's done this weekend by winning the pole. He's great at this racetrack. Matt, does it seem as if it's those two and everyone else, or is there a twist that we're not talking about?
Yeah, Reddick not qualified or finished outside the top 5 in both variations of the Coda layout that we've run here over the last few years, which is an incredible stat in itself, and he qualifies on the pole. We are going to see Shane Van Gisbergen come through the field. There are plentiful of others that could stand up in the seat today and get a result. AJ Allmendinger, perhaps. Michael McDowell was fastest in practice yesterday. Let's see what Connor Zilic does, coming back to the scene of his Cup Series debut last year, the third Trackhouse car. Ryan Blaney was impressive, I thought, in qualifying yesterday. Really not known for his road course stats at all, but he was up there. Chase Elliott as well. He's of course had some wins on road courses in his further back in his career. So plenty of people with a chance. But if Van Gisbergen gets to the front, we saw what he did yesterday in the Grand National race. Expect not a lot less than that this afternoon.
Shane will have traffic in front of him for the start. He starts 13th. We'll talk a little bit more about that in a moment. You see what this race is just ahead of us, 95 laps, 228 miles, just shy of 400 kilometers. Stage racing today. We're going to talk about that a little bit later with Matt. That's wildly important. 20 laps the first stage, 25 on the second, and that last stage is 50 laps. And last year, that last stage felt like the first 2 stages went by in a blink, and then the last stage took an age to finish. Around this road course, 50 laps is a long time on its own, and that's just the final stage. William Byron did set the race record just 2 years ago at an average speed of 85.2 miles an hour. Byron, one of the 16 drivers in this field that does have a road course win in his career. Of course, he has a couple, in fact. Byron has to be one to keep an eye on today, Matt. The Hendrick cars seem to go well around the road courses, particularly Byron Elliott, a former winner here, and Kyle Larson.
Yeah, but one nugget to be watching out for today, Kyle Larson perhaps has some engine drama. They checked it this morning in the warm-up of the cars. If they had plugged the ECU into be checked by the team, they would have had to go to the back. They decided not to do that, and they've kept his grid position. We'll tell you the grid in a moment. So already perhaps interesting for Kyle Larson, of course, was wiped out in the middle of the race last week, looking to get a bounce back result here today, and already might be on the back foot.
And he really needs to get going, because you saw the championship standings earlier. We gave you the top 20, and he was not in the top 20. About to get the command to fire the engines here in a matter of moments as we get closer to the start here at the Circuit of the Americas. Again, 4 road course races on the calendar this year. This is the first of them that's down from 6 last year. We'll see what this road course race number 1 gives us.
Executive Officer at Relodyne, Eric Rice.
All right, now, Austin, on behalf of Duramax, Relodyne, it's my honor to say, drivers, start your engine!
As we get set to go at Circuit of the Americas, we've done a lot of talk. How about we talk about the ones to watch on this day in Austin, Texas? There's a number of people to watch. As always, we give you 4 of them.
Before Conor Zilic went on his amazing run last season in the what was then called Xfinity Series, he made his Cup debut right here at Circuit of the Americas. After a poor qualifying, a strong run through the field in Stage 2 got him towards the edge of the top 10 before an accident ruined his day. He comes back to the track where he made his Cup Series debut with all those Xfinity wins under his belt, including a couple of dominating wins on road courses. Can today be the day for the man in the 3rd Trackhouse car, who's had a terrible couple of weeks in terms of the championship points so far?
Chris Buescher always does things quietly, and quietly he's become one of the most solid road course racers in the sport. He was a winner at Watkins Glen in 2024 when he outdueled Shane Van Gisbergen to the finish, and he always seems to be around the top 10 at the end of these races.
Most of the off-season chat, of course, was to do with 2311 Racing and NASCAR. We talked about how well Tyler Reddick has gone so far to start the season with 2 wins, and his teammate Bubba Wallace backing him up to 2nd in points. There was another team on that side of the NASCAR trial, though, and that was Front Row Motorsports. Zane Smith has been making headlines for them at the first couple of weeks of the season, and I'm sure pretty much nobody would have predicted that he'd be top 5 in points coming out of the first couple of races of the season. But here he is, and here he comes to a track where he's tasted victory before, in the Truck Series a few years ago on the way to a championship. Can the Zane Smith train keep rolling through Austin, Texas today?
In a sport that's been around for more than 3/4 of a century, never has a driver won each of the first 3 races of a NASCAR Cup Series season. Tyler Reddick attempts to do that today at what is statistically one of, if not his best racetracks. In 5 races here, he's never finished outside the top 10. He has 4 top 5s, an average finish of 4.6, and a win here in 2023. It's already been a great start to 2026 for Reddick. Today, a win would make it a historic start for himself and his team. Those are our ones to watch today, and now let's take a look at the starting grid for today's running of the Duramax Texas Grand Prix. On the pole, as we talked about, Tyler Reddick, one of his best tracks, perhaps his best track, and with him in the first row, Ross Chastain, who scored his first career win at this course. Chase Briscoe in row 2, new look for him this week, along with Ryan Blaney from High Point, North Carolina. Row 3, 7-time road course race winner Chase Elliott, with Michael McDowell very good on the road course. AJ Allmendinger in row 4. He's always able to show up at times on these tracks. And Christopher Bell, who won this race a year ago. In row 5, Ty Gibbs, turbulent week for him, alongside 2024 COTA winner William Byron.
Saint Smith, one of our ones to watch, is on the 6th row, along with another man that was making headlines last week, Carson Hocevar. Watch out for him in the black livery today. Shane Van Gisbergen is next on row 7. Expect him to come forward alongside the man that beat him to victory at Watford a couple of years ago. Another of our ones to watch, Chris Bush. Row 8 is All Hendrick. Kyle Larson and Alex Bowman find themselves there. Row 9, Todd Gilland in the 34 Loves Travel Stop Ford, and Cole Custer in the 41 number 41 Haskar. Denny Hamlin and Joey Logano, two former Daytona 500 winners on row 10. Get my words out.
Row 11, Ty Dillon for Colleague, and the Wood Brothers, number 21 of Josh Berry. Row 12, Daniel Suarez, a former Sonoma race winner, and Darrell Wallace Jr. second in the championship. As you continue to look through the field, you see Connor Zilich, who won 5 times on road courses last year in the Grand National Series. Brad Keselowski's never one-on-one. Jesse Love makes a start for Richard Childress Racing with Austin Cindric in row 14. And in row 15, it's Ryan Preece and Kyle Busch. His best race last year was here.
Row 16 bringing up towards the rear, John Hunter Nemechek in the 42 for Legacy Motor Club, and Riley Hurd in the 35. Austin Dillon, another of the RCR cars, is next up, along with his former teammate Ricky Stenhouse Jr. on row 17. Noah Gregson and Eric Jones on the next row. We get right towards the back of the grid here for this afternoon's race. We find number 51, Cody Ware, on his own, last on the grid on row 19.
18 Chevrolets, 10 Fords, and 9 Toyotas make up the 37 car starting field as we get ready to go. Cars on the track here at COTA. Matt, let's talk about your keys to the race as we bring the whiteboard out.
Thank you, Matthew. 3 points as always to look out for today, and we've already touched on it. Well, SVG won yesterday. He's going to have to come from deeper in the field to do it again today. This is the only road course track on his resume that he has yet to win at. We'll touch on it through the day. To stage point or not to stage point? That is the question today. Will you forfeit your stage position or go for a race victory? Very different way of scoring points again this season, as we've touched on through the last couple of weeks as well. And I disagree with Kyle Petty. Track limits are not a thing around this racetrack, apart from in the S's, where there are tyre stacks, so you have to watch out for them. But as we touched on when we did the virtual lap, plenty of room to roam here at Circuit of the Americas, whether you like it or indeed whether you don't.
Very good. Very good, Matt. Now, not a part of that whiteboard is Shane Van Gisbergen and where he starts today. Obviously, he has been unstoppable on these road courses all season long. But, Mr. White, he did not have the single lap speed that everyone expected him to have in qualifying yesterday. But on his last lap of qualifying was very crucial, wasn't it? Because it was group qualifying. He was sitting 20th. He was going to start 20th, 21st, somewhere around there. On his last lap, he jumped up to 13th. On a track position-based road course like this, gaining those 7, 8, 9, 10 positions that he did on that last lap is so huge, especially for a guy like him, in which it's almost as if it's him versus the field, and the field is really tired of seeing him win these races.
Yeah, we had a lot of chat, didn't we, about that at the end of last year after the Roval from the likes of Christopher Bell and Chase Elliott, namely. But yes, he was the only man really to improve on a time on his second lap in that first portion of qualifying yesterday. And that could be key to start of the race. He does slightly more out of the Hornet's Nest, perhaps, on this first lap than he would have been if he hadn't improved. So different packages we've talked about, more horsepower today, which is something obviously everyone's been screaming for. What they won't be screaming for is another SVG win. If he can manage the horsepower, he was known as the tyre whisperer down in Australia, so he may be able to put some of that into practice today.
Does the 750 horsepower make a difference to you, Matt?
No.
Do we think we're going to see a race terribly different than the 6 road courses we had last year?
You know me, I'll watch something with 1 horsepower if needs be. So, apart from horses. But, yeah, it's going to make... Well, we'll have to see. I don't think it's going to make too much difference today. Might be talking a different story next week when we get to the short oval at Phoenix, of course, when they'll have Firestone rubber on the racetrack to contend with, of course, as well. So that will be more of a talking point throughout the year. But on the road courses, I do not think it's going to make too much of a difference. But we'll see.
Yeah, we will see indeed. Shane Van Gisbergen, 5 straight road course wins. The last time he did not win on a road course in the Cup Series was this race last year. He had never won at COTA prior to winning the Grand National race yesterday, of course, where he pulled off a 4-wide pass for the lead on the final restart in turn 1. Do we think, and we know this guy is a master at this kind of racing, did he need to win that race yesterday? Does that give him any extra confidence boost, or was he going to be fine no matter what happened yesterday?
I don't think he needed to, but you're quite right. It will just give him a little bit of a G up for today, and whatever worries and woes he had from sort of practice and qualifying, if it was a driver issue rather than a car issue, he would have put that up behind him with the result yesterday evening. So yeah, we'll see how he goes today. We'll be focusing in on him, as we'll be focusing in on everybody else. This is not going to be the Shane Van Gisbergen show unless he gets to the front and walks away by 15 seconds.
Right, like Alex Palou did earlier today, as he often does in his series that he dominates. Van Gisbergen, Matt, 5 straight road course wins, as we talked about. That's 1 shy of the all-time record. He's trying to equal Jeff Gordon's record of 6 straight road course wins. Of course, Gordon only did it on the 2 road courses of Sonoma and Watkins Glen. That stretch went from Watkins Glen 1997 to Sonoma 2000. Also with a win today, he would not only equal that record, Matt, he would tie Chase for 3rd most road course wins in Cup Series history, with 7 behind only Tony Stewart and Jeff Gordon.
And that's just wild in itself, because he's only really been here for 5 minutes, hasn't he? So, relatively speaking, this is his 3rd full season in any kind of NASCAR competition, of course, when he did the Grand National Series in full-time form 2 years ago. So, yeah, records there to be broken. A couple of records perhaps to be broken if Tyler Reddick can pull off the feat today and get a 3rd win on the spin.
We are on, of course, the Ultimate Sports Media Network. We're also on JBM. As you heard, if you were with us for IndyCar, JB, under the weather. He is watching. He is listening. I hope he's well. And we've got JT in our ears as well, of course.
I'm as well as can be, which is interesting. But I want to say thank you, boys, for stepping in to the last second. JT for producing. You guys for sharing your comms. It's the weirdest situation I've ever been in, where I'm in the commentary box, because I'm not in the commentary box. I've been given a laptop and a bus mixer, and I'm watching my own television from my bed. As you can hear, my voice has got worse since we entered the IndyCar. So you'll be hearing from me during the stage breaks, and if, all hell goes to loose. But wait, you to say this. I've got to stop. I've got a lump in my throat.
And don't forget, of course, as we get ready to go, and we wish you well, Josh, massive weekend next weekend, of course, on JBM with F2, F3, F1, IndyCar, NASCAR, and everything else that's going into it. So rest up, my friend. You have got a big slog ahead of you next weekend.
I am resting, and I have food as well. So good luck, guys.
Good man.
So, field ready to go green this time around. Again, this is the short course. We took you through a lap around here earlier. We've cut off, as Matt said, about half the course. So it is a shorter lap. That's why we have now a 95-lap race. Passing zones are, of course, turn 1, as we talked about. You follow everyone through down the hill into the S's. Turn 6 and 6B, you could make a pass there. You certainly will try to set one up in turn 12, 19, and 20. Last thoughts here, Matt, as we're about 25 seconds or so away from a green flag.
Decent crowd in. Sun is out. Cars look beautiful on the racetrack. They won't all look this gleaming in a couple of hours and 95 laps time when they get to the end. Camry pace car pulling left and into the elongated pit entry here just before the final corner at Circuit of the Americas. For the green flag on JBM and USMN, Walnut Cove, North Carolina's Matthew Owens.
Remember the start last year. It was wild in turn 1. Here we go. Off turn 20. Green flag up in the air. It's time to drop the hammer in Austin, Texas at Circuit of the Americas. These cars building speed up this 1 kilometer long front straightaway. They make the COTA climb and then hit the brakes and basically make a U-turn into turn 1. And coming from absolutely nowhere to take the lead is Chase Briscoe. He passes both Ross Chastain and Tyler Reddick, and it's Briscoe who will lead the way down the hill through the S's. Briscoe from Reddick. Ryan Blaney sneaks up into third. And then you saw the Winter Olympics a couple of weeks ago, Matt. Here's NASCAR's version of the slaloms.
That's right. It's the big Super G going through the snake here. One car trying to make sure it got in between the tyre stacks. It was Ty Dillon towards the back end of the field. It all gets stacked up together at the entry to 6 and 6B. But they've all seemed to have got around so far so clean on the first lap. Briscoe still leading from Reddick. As a move at the far back, that is William Byron trying to get up the inside of AJ Allmendinger and Carson Hocevar.
3 wide with Allmendinger and Hocevar. Hocevar gets shoved wide. Shane Van Gisbergen might make it 4 wide. He does. Onto the curbing to get by Hocevar and others. Meanwhile, through the stadium section, Chase Briscoe's got company. Tyler Reddick to his outside as they race out of turn 15. Now through this triple apex right-hander. Reddick's got the inside. Briscoe loads it up around the outside. He'll stay in front. It's Briscoe from Reddick from the 1 of Chastain into turn number 19. They come, and it's car 19 who leads the way.
Chastain looking here, see if he can stick up at the inside at Reddick at the final corner, and does have a lunge. It is a clean move. A little bit of contact to the exit of the corner. Chase Briscoe's going to lead the first lap, side by side for second. The Camry has got its nose in front at the moment, but Chastain will have the high ground when they get to the braking zone of turn 1, and they will go side by side into said braking zone, and Chastain will complete the pass. So it's Briscoe, Chastain, Reddick, Blaney and Elliott, top 5 at the end of the first lap.
So from row 2, Chase Briscoe leads lap number 1 here at Circuit of the Americas. It's the 9th time in his career he's led a lap on a road course, but Ross Chastain is hot to trot as they swing back and forth through the S's. Briscoe shows the way in that new look white and blue Toyota from Chastain, then Reddick, Ryan Blaney 4th, Chase Elliott 5th. Heavy lockup going in to turn 6A. I think everyone's avoided contact. That was Michael McDowell lighting up the left front. Luckily, he didn't get into the back of Christopher Bell, who's the defending winner of this race. Now down the shortened back stretch, which connects you into turn 12. Make that heavy left-hander into 12, and then you're into that stadium section, you'll hear us call it. A.J. Allmendinger locks up the right front, heading to turn 13. He's trying to stay latched onto the back bumper of Shane Van Gisbergen.
This is all happening at 9th position. SVG has got that place at the moment after his couple of passes there on the first lap. That was, you're quite right, Michael McDowell locking up, defending from Ty Gibbs, going into 6 and 6B. And don't get confused, we're jumping from turn 6 to 6B to 12. That's because we cut off half the racetrack, but have not changed the corner numbers from the original layout. So that is why we are cutting off 6 corners on this racetrack. Van Gisbergen now under pressure from William Byron at the final corner.
That makes all the sense in the world to go from 6
Doesn't it?
to
Yes.
12. Yes, I know. Van Gisbergen has climbed up already from 13th to 9th, so he's made up 4 places early, despite not having short run speed yesterday. He's shown pretty good short run speed here to start. Here's a move at turn 1. Christopher Bell ducks to the inside of Chase Elliott, trying to take over 5th. Elliott's got the inside for the run to turn 2, but Bell powers around to driver's left, and he will take over the 5th position. Bell was the best road course driver in the sport in 2025, not named Van Gisbergen. He won here at COTA. He was second to Shane in, I just drew a blank, at Watkins Glen, thank you, and the Charlotte Roval. I got there.
His teammate, though, leads the way. And Chase Briscoe did say over the off-season he spent 85 to 90% of his time over the off-season working on his road course package, setup, sim time, all of that happening, and clearly it is working. Although he did run him decently well at Sonoma, didn't he? Chase Briscoe was always in the race there in that race against SVG. Battle on for 3rd here, as Tyler Reddick has now got the company at the back door from the Pennzoil Mobile of Ryan Blaney.
Yeah, Blaney, of course, has a road course win on his resume. That was from the very first race at the Charlotte Roval 2018. Fastest in practice yesterday, ran well in qualifying too. Runs in the 4th position. But it's Chase Briscoe, who was in the top 7 in 3 of the last 5 road course races of last year, who shows the way, swinging it wide out of 19 before perfectly cutting it into turn 20. You mentioned track limits, Matt. No worrying about going wide at 19 and 20. We'll be seeing that all day long.
Yeah, the only problem at the final corner is there is some grass, so you have to get back on or stay on the tarmac, get back within the white lines there at the final corner to not run onto the grass, which will slow you down and perhaps damage your car. But Briscoe stretched this out to about a 3 or 4 car length lead as they come back down the hill and under the footbridge just before the left, right S's, and then the hard stop into turn 6 and then down the chute to 6B.
So racing into that turn 6 section, the shortcut, if you will. And as you mentioned, Matt, Briscoe has legged it out just a little bit on Chastain. Doesn't look like they slow up very much at all for 6B. They obviously have to stand on the brakes for 6A, but they don't decelerate a lot at 6B. And now into 12, Tyler Reddick has Ryan Blaney to driver's left. Reddick goes wide to give Blaney plenty of room, and Blaney in the Pennzoil number 12 goes through to 3rd.
Good move there from Blaney. Yeah, that 6B, I don't think it's a braking zone per se, but it's certainly a lift and then get back on it on the throttle when you feel the grip. Here's Michael McDowell. We know his road course pedigree, and he's trying to get around Chase Elliott. This is the battle for 6th position, a couple of car lengths clear of the next group, which is being headed by that purple number 97.
Remember, McDowell won the pole and led the most laps at the Chicago Street Course last year, had a mechanical failure that took him out of the running of that race towards the middle portions. So it's still Briscoe from Chastain, but Chastain might have company at the back door soon. Ryan Blaney is gobbling up the gap, and he is right on the back bumper of that Busch Light Chevrolet as they make their way back up this front straightaway. As I said, a full kilometer in length and 133 feet of elevation change, but you still have to stand on the brakes hard to get through turn 1, which everyone did cleanly this time around, Matt, outside of last year when Ross Chastain bulldozed Chase Elliott around in front of basically the entirety of the field turn 1, lap 1 a year ago.
Yeah, indeed so. Thankfully, much like most of the racing so far this weekend, surprisingly clean first laps in the truck race yesterday, in the IndyCar race today, and here so far this afternoon. Here's Ty Dillon in the 10. Up behind the car his granddad owns, Jesse Love, the 33. They're running
strangest camera cut in the history of time.
Yeah.
To see the battle between Ty Dillon and, yes, Jesse Love.
Indeed so, when there's a top 10 where they're fairly all bumper to bumper, but we've cut back to this battle for 28th position.
Good stuff.
Love still on a sticker move up the inside of Keselowski. Oh, the 60, sorry, of Ryan Preece actually going in the back of him there. Caught me out there. Preece in the Keselowski Castro colours this afternoon, and Love gave him a little love tap there on the braking for turn 12, but they stay straight and true, and Preece keeps the position.
Preece, of course, winner at Bowman Gray in the season opening exhibition race, the Clash. There is nothing that correlates Bowman Gray to the Americas, Matt.
Quick Connor Zilic update. He's up to 21st from his lowly starting spot. So watch out for the 3rd of the Trackhouse cars trying to make his way towards the top 10.
Zilic, of course, 5 road course wins in the Grand National Series last year. I can confirm that Fox is not in brake, and of course they don't take full screen brakes under green anymore, which everyone, was offended by. But we are sticking with the Preece v. Love v. Dillon battle, which is incredible scenes. 5 laps complete, 20-lap first stage for a 95-lap race. And here is Jesse Love. I mean, I guess we'll call it while it's on screen, trying to outbrake Preece into turn 1 and this tremendous battle for 27th.
Side by side down the hill. And that we'll have to come back to that battle because something's happening a bit further forward. Michael McDowell.
Back to it.
Well, indeed so. We're looking at McDowell and Van Gisbergen, who have both got around Chase Elliott while we were watching that battle for whatever reason. And the top 6 now are getting queued up. Christopher Bell's also got around Tyler Reddick while we were looking elsewhere.
Kyle Busch, the biggest mover here in the early going, started 30th, is up to 22nd. He led the most laps in this race a year ago, Matt. In fact, 54 laps led for his career at COTA. That's second most all-time laps led at this track for Kyle Busch. He's on the move early after a very poor qualifying.
Yeah, we thought midway through that race here last year, maybe it was Kyle's time to break the winless streak, but it went away from him in the second half of the race last year. As we focus on here, AJ Allmendinger having a look up the inside of Ty Gibbs into the penultimate corner. I think that's for a 10th position spot, and they'll go side by side to the final corner as well.
Gibbs has lost a couple of spots the last few laps to drop down to 10th and maybe going down to 11th if Allmendinger can get by. Leaders flash across the line once again. With Briscoe still leading from Blaney, it's a tenuous lead of just a couple of car lengths. They've been able to just slide away from Ross Chastain just a bit. In fact, Chastain's got has Christopher Bell not too far behind. Tyler Reddick is backslid to 6th. Shane Van Gisbergen right behind him. Lap times, Matt, of the leader last time around, a 141.28. So we're already getting that fall off. With a softer tire and with the higher horsepower package, we are seeing some tire fall off, and tire degradation was a huge part of this race last year. Really, it was a huge part of every road course race. Good Lord, particularly the Roval last year.
Yeah, we saw a fair chunk of it in qualifying yesterday afternoon as well. Lots of rubber marbles laid around the racetrack during qualifying. Of course, there was other activities on the racetrack pre-qualifying too, so was a bit bolstered from that, but we'll see that throughout the race where the tyres are fading away. Talking of fading away, Chase Briscoe's lead has done exactly that. Ryan Blaney tip-tapping on the rear of the Camry up in front of it.
Meanwhile, Van Gisbergen has gotten by Reddick for 6th, then Reddick continues to backslide a bit. Chase Elliott is pouring on the steam through the stadium section and around turns 16, 17, and 18. Elliott underneath the rear spoiler of Reddick, who will hold off the 9 car, at least for now, through turn 19. But don't look too far back, because right behind Elliott, he's got his teammate William Byron. Here goes Elliott. He'll stuff it to the inside of turn number 20. Reddick will afford him all the space he needs, and Reddick's car, not great here at the start, is it, Matt? He's fallen now from 1st to 8th.
Yeah, you can see Reddick is not really fighting too hard here with these guys as they catch him, and Byron will follow his teammate through by the looks of things up at the top of the hill at turn 1. Sticks his nose up the inside. In fact, Reddick defended. This time he puts me to shame. Ignore all the words I just said, and Reddick keeps that position for the moment as they plunge back down the hill.
Now, you talked about this in the whiteboard segment, Matt, and we have to touch on it again here. And I apologize to everyone. We're going to be touching on this multiple times through these first 2 stages, but you don't have to hear about it in stage 3. Stage points, Matt.
Yeah.
Road courses like this, you can what we call flip the stage, which means you can make a pit stop before pit road closes. Pit road closes, remember, when the leader starts 2 to go in the stage. You can make a pit stop here and not lose a lap comfortably, by the way. You can do that.
Yeah.
In doing so, you give up stage points, but you keep yourself on a race-winning strategy. If you don't believe you have a car that can win, maybe you stay on a stage point strategy, maximize stage points to get out of here a little bit better than maybe you would if you feel like you have a 15th or 20th place car. Now that there are no playoff points, now that there are no playoffs, but stage points are still here, how do these crew chiefs call this race is incredibly intriguing to me. We've talked about it all week amongst ourselves.
Yeah, we've been back and forward in the chat, as they like to say, about this all week. It's going to be interesting. If you're at the back end of the top 10 today, at the end, towards the end of the stages, or just outside of them, you will be keeping an eye on who's coming in. Perhaps if you don't feel like you want to pit and jumping up and taking those championship points, because they're championship points up for grabs here twice throughout the race, of course, and then, of course, again at the finish. So for those people that have had a lowly start to the season, and I'm looking at you, most of Joe Gibbs Racing and others, so they would be taking chances perhaps to take some points, but that will all play out in, about 15 minutes or so's time. We'll get to see how that's going to play out for the first time on the season, and that will be a bit of a feature of all of these road course races throughout the season, as Blaney has a lunge at Briscoe in turn 12. Briscoe runs off the racetrack and comes back on. Blaney will be ahead, but he'll be on the outside for the upcoming right-hander of turn 13 and 14, double apex corner. They'll swing back towards the grandstands. Blaney still sticking it in on the inside, heading towards the left-hander, and this time he should complete the pass, and he does. Briscoe has to give it up. Ryan Blaney, our new leader at COTA.
Elbows out at turn 15 for Blaney, shoving Briscoe a bit wide, so Blaney takes the lead here at COTA on lap 9, towards the end of lap number 9. Shane Van Gisbergen, by the way, is loaded up in the 6th position, and he is starting to run down Michael McDowell into turn 19. Here's McDowell with Van Gisbergen filling up the rear view mirrors. They swing it wide out of 19 into turn 20. Now, we talked about that stage point strategy there, Matt. It affects everybody. It may affect Shane Van Gisbergen's team the most, because remember last year the story was win a race to get into the playoffs, and then once you're there, load up on playoff points. They wanted to win all of these road course races, so they stayed on a race-winning strategy. As he blows by McDowell in turn 1, Van Gisbergen moves up to 5th. So they wanted to stay on their race-winning strategy at all the road courses last year, and you could see why. This year, win doesn't get you in the playoffs. Win doesn't give you playoff points. And he comes in 16th in the championship standings. And remember, 16th is the cutoff to make the chase. So what they do on this 97 car today is awfully interesting.
Yeah, of course, finished 6th last week, at Atlanta, and was 4th on the last lap and lost 2 places right coming to the checkered flag. So he's up there in the point standings anyway, and now has a chance to pad those points with a good result today, and perhaps a couple of stage victories, perhaps if they fall his way, or decent chunk of points. And of course, not forget at Sonoma last year in stage 2, they did try to flip the stage and pitted, and he still ended up winning the stage anyway.
He did. That was stage 2 at Sonoma last year. He flipped it and still won it, which was just signs of his dominance at Sonoma. I mean, you think of the dominant wins that he had last year. Sonoma was a runaway. Mexico was a runaway. The Roval, which had a large margin of victory, wasn't as much of a runaway as the other ones were. But, I mean, he has smothered the field on these road courses for the last year plus now.
Back to my point before about the tyre whisperer, that Roval win was exaggerated because they took one less stop in the final stage and along the tyres out to win. So with extra horsepower and a softer tyre, might play into his hands again today. He's already up to 5th from starting 13th. It's only taken him 10 and a bit laps.
Tyler Reddick trying to repass Chase Elliott at turn 1. He went deep into turn 1 and got past him. Cameras have not let us know if Elliott did the up and under to get back by, but that's at the 7th position. And I guess they're not going to tell us if that happened or not. But nonetheless, Reddick trying to get Elliott back for 7th. Obviously, Tyler Reddick, a huge story, the biggest storyline for the first 2 weeks, and that's what everyone's been talking about this week, is could he win the first 3 races? He did clear Chase Elliott, so that's Reddick back up to 7th, trying to come back now with some laps on the tires. We're halfway through stage 1.
Yep, never been done before. Reddick, of course, we were surmising about Christopher Bell's great start to the year last year, including winning at this racetrack, but of course they weren't from the beginning of the season, Bell's run of victories last year. So potential history on our hands again today with Reddick, but as you said, from the pole, he's now 6 seconds back at the beginning of this lap anyway, of Ryan Blaney, who's now stretching out. He's got over a second on Chase Briscoe in 2nd place.
Yeah, Blaney just beat Briscoe by 0.6 the last lap, so there is good life in that 12 car, it would seem, Matt. Good one-lap speed and good long-run speed. And shocking that Ryan Blaney's got good long-run speed.
Yeah, if you've heard the two of us on the various channels and networks over the last couple of years, we do always look out for a Ryan Blaney long run because it stares at you in the face most of the time. So here he is, beginning to add to that again today.
Yes, and of course we haven't been able to talk about it much this year, have we? Because a long run, there's nothing different about a long run on the super speedways than there is a 5-lap run. But yes, the long run speed really working in Blaney's favor here as he's upped it to 2 seconds on Briscoe. There is a snake of 4 or 5 cars from 2nd on back to 6th. Briscoe, Chastain, Bell, Van Gisbergen, and McDowell. You can see the running order on your screen, of course. So Ryan Blaney taking the lead after Chase Briscoe led the first 8 laps after starting on row 2, took the lead away on the first lap from the front row guys of Ross Chastain and Tyler Reddick. And I do mean, what in the world are we doing? Okay. So does someone that's controlling the buttons, the cameras today, do they have a prop bet on who finishes higher between Jesse Love and Ty Dillon?
Yeah,
That has to be
must
the
be a-
only reason we're seeing it. But now, well, no, ABM producer. Ty Gibbs and Alex Bowman running at 13th and 14th, just ahead of the Hurricane Carson Hocevar. Which, by the way, do you know, Matt, if a hurricane comes through Dover for All-Star Weekend, can someone still run a backup car for the All-Star race if they get caught up in a hurricane during qualifying?
Indeed so.
We are way into the weeds of that back door.
Yeah.
There. Let's follow the battle for second up the hill to turn 1. Briscoe, Chastain, Bell, Van Gisbergen.
Yeah, Briscoe's fallen away now from Blaney, about 3 seconds at the line as they cross it this time, and has fallen back into this group with Chastain, Bell, and Van Gisbergen up behind him. There's about a second gap back then to McDowell. So 4 cars under a blanket here, a Texas-sized blanket, of course. A bit further back in the field, Zane Smith, one of our ones to watch, or 2 of our ones to watch briefly on screen there. Zane Smith and Connor Zilich, but we're back forward, and we're looking at the 1 car of Ross Chastain having a nibble here at second place at the back of Chase Briscoe.
All over the back of Briscoe, shooting their way towards turn 12. Chastain took a peek to the inside. Now tries to crank it to the bottom, and he might have touched the rear of Briscoe just a bit, but Chastain is through with a turn 12 overtake of the 19. So Chastain moves up into the second position. Behind them, Van Gisbergen has overtaken Christopher Bell, so that's Van Gisbergen up to 4th. Ross had a hilarious quote in the media center yesterday, Matt, as Bell might lose another place here. Michael McDowell shoves him wide at turn 15. Bell's going to stay to his inside for the triple apex 16, 17, and 18, and those two will continue to battle hammer and tong for the 5th position. But yeah, Chastain had a hilarious quote in the media center yesterday after qualifying when he qualified 2nd, nearly took pole. And he said, "Raise your hand if you had me as the highest qualified Trackhouse car."
Again,
Which no
someone
one
would
had.
have lost the plot bet there.
Yeah, really. Yeah, see, he would have been expected to be the slowest of the Trackhouse cars yesterday, I'm sure. But qualified 2nd and now runs 2nd. But his teammate is hot on his heels here as in turn 1, Van Gisbergen, who, again, if you've watched Van Gisbergen run these Cup cars on these road courses the last year plus, just this incredible ability to brake later than everyone, Matt, but still somehow get to the throttle quicker than everyone else off the corner. It's incredible how he does this. You're not supposed to be able to do that. You're supposed to either choose one or the other, but you can't have both. But he does.
Yeah, and that's one of the reasons why the TV companies have been asked not to put a foot cam in the Shane Van Gisbergen car anymore after the first couple of races where he did have the camera in the footwell. We haven't seen that for a while, and I wonder why. So Van Gisbergen, yeah, continuing his march forward. Connor Zilich, by the way, the other Trackhouse car, up to 17th from his lowly grid spot. And as right on cue, thank you very much, the Fox TV director has picked out the Red Bull colours. One of the first sighting, well, Van Gisbergen ran Red Bull last week, but one of the first sightings of a Red Bull coloured automobile on the JBM network. More on that next week, of course, when we get to Albert Park, Melbourne, for the start of the Formula One season. But Zilich here in a big fight with Hamlin ahead of him, Hurricane Hocevar in front of him, and Joey Logano just behind Logano. I heard Zilich, is it not Zilich, Hocevar in the week saying, we're talking about the nickname. He said, you can't come up with your own nickname. So someone had to come up with a nickname for me, and they've gone with Hurricane, which I retorted to myself. Lee Holsworth in the Supercars Championship came up with his own nickname, and it was Lethal. Lethal Lee.
And I'm pretty sure the one that started the Hurricane was Lee Diffie. I
Yes,
did not
sounds
hear
that
that
way.
a single time before Lee brought it up last year. By the way, you want to talk about Ryan Blaney's pace. He just lapped 9/10 of a second faster than Shane Van Gisbergen. Blaney just ran a 42.2 to Van Gisbergen's 43.1. So Blaney has incredible pace out of that 12 car on what, lap 14? Well, 14 laps complete, working 15. So Blaney running extremely well.
He's now 5 seconds clear. Van Gisbergen's got past Briscoe while we've been looking elsewhere. Here's Larson up into the top 10, passing Christopher Bell for about 8th position, I make that. We talked about Blaney in the lead, now 5 seconds clear. The stage flipping opportunities for people are, if this stays green, are going to be slimmed down here by Ryan Blaney being 5 seconds clear of the field.
Yeah, exactly right. And we'll see how all the crew chiefs want to call this as we get towards the end of the stage. Again, you have to commit to a strategy before the leader takes 2 to go, because once that leader starts the penultimate lap of the stage, pit road closes. So you have to commit to it pretty quickly. Obviously, with it being stage 1, more than likely they would have committed to a strategy before the race started. Chase Briscoe continuing to backslide. McDowell nerfed him out of the way at 19. Reddick follows him through in 20. So Briscoe, in 1 lap, has dropped from 4th to 6th after leading, the first 8 laps of the race.
Blaney again, 0.6 and 0.7 faster on that last lap than the 2 guys behind him, the 2 Trackhouse cars. So continuing the stretch out front. Here he is as he bobs and weaves and dinks his way through the S's. And he's got a big
He's the only one there.
Yeah. Is the only one in camera shot. Further back, though, McDowell up in the 4th, as you just commented on, ahead of Reddick. It's Briscoe, Byron, Larson, a little bit of a group. Then a gap back to Christopher Bell and Chris Buescher up inside the top 10.
Well, Buescher was one of our ones to watch for a reason. He runs well on these road courses. Not sure if you caught that, Matt. 40 straight road course races, and he's finished on the lead lap. That's the all-time record.
Wow. I did not catch that.
Now we can put visual notes in ones to watch. Isn't that something? The power of technology. Now, if we could just keep it on one channel, please. Anyway, 15 laps down, 5 to go here in stage number 1, and Blaney's lead just continues to increase, as we've talked about. Some incredible laps being turned by Blaney deeper and deeper into this run. Here is Buescher going after Bell. We're seeing some comers and goers, aren't we? And Christopher Bell, over these last couple of laps, Matt, he has been a goer. Buescher has just taken him for 9th. Now Bell's got Allmendinger all over him in 19.
And AJ nips up the inside at 19 to take the place. Chase Elliott as well, a goer just outside of this. And Bell pits. Bell jumps to the pit lane. So is he the first of our pit callers with a couple to go? No, he's got a couple of people in front of him here. So here we go. It is time to flip. And McDowell has just been overtaken by Reddick on the racetrack at turn 1. But Bell is in the pit lane.
Can I ask what may be a stupid question? I don't know, Matt. Why would you do it this lap? The leader just took 4 to go. You could have done it next lap. Now you're going to have just that 1 extra lap on your tires going to stage 2, because if you're pitting here, you're not going to pit during the stage 1 caution. So I'm a little confused why they did it this lap.
Yeah, very strange. A couple of other cars in there as well. Couldn't quite see who the other 2 were in front of Bell. I think one of them was Larson. So a couple of takers there in Byron and Larson. So 2 of the Hendrick cars and Christopher Bell jumping that time.
Yeah, I'm a bit surprised.
Let's see who we get this time around.
Yeah, now this is the last chance for basically everyone but Blaney. Blaney, with the big lead that he has, could come in when he's coming to the 2 to go, but no one else can. As it is 6 seconds now from Blaney to Chastain. Van Gisbergen seems like he's just calmed his jets, cooled his jets. He's not really going after Chastain. He's, I think, just fine running 2 seconds behind him. Blaney coming out of 19 into 20, and he's not pitting this lap either. And he will come to the line. There will be 3 laps to go in stage number 1. Blaney coming into this race, Matt, 8th in the championship standings. If they leave him out for the next 3 laps, it's 10 championship points.
Yeah, decent start for Penske. Didn't really see too much of them at the end of the 500, of course, but good run last week at Atlanta. Tyler Reddick has pitted this time. and he's brought Chase Briscoe with him. So the pole man and the man that led coming out of turn 1 on the very first lap, both in the pits this time.
And again, we have to retrain our brain. 2 wins here for Reddick, but that does not clinch a chase spot. But they are staying on what we would used to call this as a race-winning strategy, but you might not be able to call these strategies certain names now that things have changed in the way championship points are awarded. It's show and tell time for Ryan Blaney, Matt, because he is heading to 13 here as Daniel Suarez exits pit road along with Cole Custer, Todd Gilliland, and the legacy cars of John Hunter Nemechek and Eric Jones. But, Matt, it is show and tell time for Jonathan Hassler and Ryan Blaney. Do they pit the 12? Do they not? They've got a couple of corners until they'll show us.
Seems like Fox weren't expecting that many people in the pit lane last time around. Snow Gregson gets back up to speed at the back end of the field in the 4 car. Here comes Ryan Blaney then. 2 corners to go on this lap. What will he do? Coming to 2 to go, of course. And he peels his way through the left-hander of 19. And he is going to stay out. No, makes a late dive to pit lane. So Blaney will give up a chance of 10 championship points for 4 tyres.
And the question will be, will Chastain follow him? Because Blaney will not cross the start-finish line on pit road, so Chastain could come in if he wants. Let's go to pit road.
They'll fill it up in 4 tires for the 12.
None of the...
And Chastain does stay out. So Chastain stays out, takes 2 to go, and Blaney will exit here. And we will re-rack the running order here for you. So Blaney gives up the stage win. As big of a lead as he had, Matt, he might still come out around top 10 and get some points. Who knows?
We talked about Blaney taking the going across the start-finish line because Chastain did it as then the leader. That locks everybody else from coming to pit road. So looks like it is going to be a Trackhouse 1-2. They've had a fairly decent weekend already within their organisation. We'll talk about what happened in MotoGP later on in the day, but it looks like it's going to be a decent start for them here. And as you say, once they click back across the start-finish line at the end of this lap, we'll go through who's done what to who in terms of running order. But Chastain clear to the tune of 3.5 seconds. Here's Kyle Larson and Tyler Reddick a bit further down the field. These guys have both stopped, and they are 23rd and 24th. Larson's just got around Reddick out of our eyesight.
The opportunity presents itself to maximize points because of this new point structure that they would do that. So, Kevin, you guys had it exactly right. That was part of the plan from the start of this race for them.
Zilich did pit, so Zilich made a pit stop during this stage, but the other 2 Trackhouse cars do not. Perhaps Shane might be regretting cooling his jets if that's indeed what he did, because now he will not be in position to battle Chastain for this stage win. Here comes Ross out of turn 20, the site of his first career Cup Series win. Comes to the line, 1 lap to go in stage number 1 here at Circuit of the Americas, and his lead is a hefty one, 4.2 seconds. He added about 8/10 on that last lap. Van Gisbergen second, McDowell third, Buescher fourth, Allmendinger fifth, as we have about 2 miles to go in this stage. Ryan Blaney, by the way, did come out 14th, Matt, so he'll just miss stage points. But that's how big of a lead he had, that he could come all the way down pit road from the lead and only fall to 14th.
Ty Gibbs, Alex Bowman, Chase Elliott, Carson Hosebar, and Denny Hamlin, the rest of the top 10. At the moment, we'll get a check on it once we get to the end of the stage, but Ross Chastain with the bull bar on the bonnet there. He used it to good effect earlier on to get the lead away from Chase Briscoe. And now he's on a way to stamp 10 championship points in the column for him for the day. Michael McDowell closing in on Shane Van Gisbergen in the background, but I think SVG's probably got enough underneath him to keep the pace. A couple more corners to go for the Busch Light number 1.
This would be the 12th career stage win for Ross Chastain, who isn't exactly looked at as the best road course racer, or maybe even a top-tier road course racer. But as I mentioned, first career win in the Cup Series came at this track in 2022. He has been really strong all weekend long, and he is heading towards a green and white checkered flag for his first stage win of this year. Here comes the Busch Light Chevrolet, slinging it wide out of turn 19, heading towards turn 20. No pressure at the back door. Here comes Ross Chastain, Matt, to the green and white checkered.
Out of the final corner, and he will power his way up to the start-finish line. And looks like he might have just laid off it a little bit on the final lap there. But no problem at all for the number 1 car. Ross Chastain takes stage 1. He is a Trackhouse 1-2 with Shane Van Gisbergen second ahead of Michael McDowell. Chris Buescher 4th. AJ Allmendinger just holding off Ty Gibbs for 5th and 6th across the line. But it is a Trackhouse happy stage for them. First and second for cars 1 and 97. Ross Chastain, the stage 1 winner here at Circuit of the Americas.
Now, end of stage 1, we normally give you on this day in racing history, and we will do that. But we learned this last year, Matt. Stage cautions on road courses, we have to pace ourselves. So I will be the first one to pace out of the box for a moment. and then you can pace your way out of the box for a moment if you need to. But I will leave you in the capable hands of Matt and whoever else decides to talk during these next 2 minutes.
What we can roll straight into on this day in racing, if you like, as Matthew takes a step away. Double dutying, of course, this afternoon after that IndyCar race earlier on this afternoon, which we'll touch on at the end of stage 2, where we do a little wrap up, as we always do at the end of stage 2 on USMN, as we are now called this week, anyway, and our NASCAR coverage. So let's do on this day in racing history. It is, of course, the first day of March today, and the following people are on the birthday list. Vincent Abril, GT driver. Will Power, of course, was in action in that IndyCar race earlier on this afternoon. Travis Kroffel is on the birthday list today, as is Andrew Kirkcaldy. Also on the birthday list is Dave Marquis. Happy birthday to all of those and anyone else celebrating their birthday today, March the 1st. On this day in racing history on the racetrack, Connor Zilic was a winner right here at Circuit of the Americas last year in the Focused Health 250 Xfinity Series race. A year prior, 2024, the Las Vegas Motor Speedway was the host for the Craftsman Truck Series. Raja Karuth getting the victory there. I think off the top of my head without clicking on it, that was his first Truck Series win, the Victoria's Voice Foundation at 200. The last Cup race to be run on this day was in 2020, just before the world shut down. We were at Fontana Auto Club Speedway for the Auto Club 400. Alex Bowman, the winner. 2019, another truck race that was won by Kyle Busch, again at Las Vegas Motor Speedway, the Strat 200. 2015. Happy birthday to Uncle Bob. Thank you, JT. James Courtney was a winner of the third and final race of the weekend, making him the Clipsal 500 champion of 2015 in the Supercars Championship. On that very same day at Atlanta, Jimmy Johnson was a winner in the Folds of Honor Quick Trip 500. Craig Lowndes won the second race of the weekend in 2014 for the Clipsal 500, and Kyle Busch, a Nationwide Series winner at Phoenix on that day, the Blue Jeans Go Green 200. Jamie Whincup
Series win. That's stunning.
Jamie Whincup won the first race of the 2 on the Saturday. That was for the Clipsal 500. Why they couldn't have been put together on this list with the nationwide race in between them, goodness only knows. Another Cup race on this day in 2009 at Las Vegas. Another Kyle Busch winner at his home track, the Shelby 427. Not 425 or 430, but a 427.
Yes, that's right. Yes.
The year before, again at LVMS, Mark Martin was a winner in the Nationwide Series, the Samstown 300. That very same race was also run on this day in 2003 with a win for Joe Nemechek.
I remember that it went from 267 laps to 285. It was something. It was some kind of anniversary for Shelby.
Right.
Shelby Carroll, of course. So it turned into the Shelby 427. That was a strange one.
2003 also at Homestead Miami Speedway was the Nextel Grand Prix of Miami for the Grand Am Series. JC France and Hurley Haywood winners there. Another win for Mark Martin on this day in 98, again at Las Vegas in a Cup race this time, the Las Vegas 400. He also won a Grand National Series race again on this date, but this was at Richmond in 1997, the Hardee's Fried Chicken Challenge 250. Rockingham, not Rockingham, in 1992, Bill Elliott, the winner of the GM Goodrich 500, and Nigel Mansell kicked off his 1992 championship winning season with a win at the Yellow Pages South African Grand Prix. Dale Earnhardt, winner of the Rockingham race in 1987 on this day. He also won at Rockingham in the Protector Liner 200 race in the Busch Series in 1986.
Darrell Waltrip won at Rockingham in the Carolina 500 of 81. Rene Arnoux won at Kyalami in 1980. Jody Scheckter at home, South Africa, in 1975. And Jackie Stewart also won there in 69. Perfectly timed. The field's on pit road.
Just want to catch up on some of the things that's been happening in the YouTube chat. First of all, I am here. I'm just very limited on what I'm saying. So the boys are doing brilliantly. Pit roads.
For the 9, Regan. The 1 car, Ross Chastain, just needs drive off, meaning he can't get the power down as well as he wants to. 97 to Shane Van Gisbergen may have gone a little too early, too soon that run.
Yeah, and you saw right there, Ross Chastain lost the lead because he stalled the car, leaving the exit of his pit box.
Long stop for Brad Keselowski, who is still on pit road. And Todd Gilliland pitted from 16th, but the car fell off the jack and lost 7 seconds.
Chastain, slow pit stop there, and he will lose track.
So, just want to bring up some things from the feed, guys. You're getting a lot of good comments on the YouTube chat. The Sir Turbo says better commentary than Fox. Let's be honest. So well done. A lot of people saying about how Reddick is starting to come back through the field, and how this race. This is from Sharky. He said we were supposed to see the 88 versus the 97, but that's not happening today. Coming into it. They're all worried about the F1 in Australia because of what's going on in the world right now, because some of them can't get the cars there. So we might not have an Australian Grand Prix. We'll get more on that, I presume, in the Grid Tonight show, which for the first time might turn political. So, Omi, you're going. I'm if I'm better. And Sharky's prediction was 10 car pile up, 5 cautions, and pick to win the race either the 8 or the 97. I'm still picking Reddick, to be fair. You can't go against him. I thought that was an interesting opening stage. I know, I just seen all the timings that SVG is back to the front now. So predictable as ever. But I think it's the same old at COTA, isn't it? The first stage, it's quiet, nothing happens. Second stage, it starts to boil up. And then by the time we get to the third stage, everyone's forgotten that they're, NASCAR race drivers, and everyone thinks that they're just playing Hot Wheels and slap themselves into each other.
So, it was an interesting first stage. Chase Elliott on pit road still, and now just exiting, and I'm trying to get an update on that.
Same.
But failing to do so at the current moment. They just they took both of the rear tires off, and they had a pit crew member under the wheel well on both the left rear and right rear. And the folks at PRN are saying they will try to get an update shortly.
Maybe a suspension or ride height kind of adjustment, perhaps, if they were in both sides at the back there to the back of the 9 car. But as you say, we'll scour for an update and keep you posted. Thank you for all the nice comments coming our way. We appreciate that.
Yes. And Christian Malley with us, as he always is.
As always. Good evening,
Yes.
Christian.
Christian's the best.
Now, you were going through Stats Sunday, weren't you, earlier on and on this day? Today ended. So, you were mentioning about how you like your stats, Matt. How about this one? 584 races since the last time Ducati were not on a podium in MotoGP. The last time was the 2021 British Grand Prix that they didn't have a podium on a Sunday.
Okay, because on TV it said 88 races.
Yeah, I've got that one wrong, haven't I?
Yeah.
Someone has put that.
I've watched a lot of racing between 2021 and now, but there's not been 584 MotoGP races.
TNT has put the wrong stat out, haven't they? Even I was thinking what was going on there. Right. Well, in that case, I'll defect you on 88. Still, the facts points. It says
someone's fat-fingered that, haven't they? And pressed the 5 as well as the 8 at the same time.
Right.
Still, at that point, the 2021 British Grand Prix, that's quite a distance coming into it. And long reign Aprilia, because we needed some change. My thoughts, boys, as I increasingly sound like a Dalek, do not adjust your sets. This is just my voice. Exterminate. I think for this stage, we'll see the first half be once again quite calm, and they'll get a little bit of rhythm. And then I reckon someone will try and go for a move, cause a caution, maybe that 6A, 6B section like we saw last year. And watch out for Tyler Reddick, who's going to try and come in. They're at the choose now, so I'll shut up and I'm back to you, boys.
It did bring Chase Elliott back to pit road to just top off on fuel. We still don't know what they were doing on that very elongated pit stop. I do enjoy, though, how Fox actually went to their pit reporters, Matt, and the pit report on the 9 was no adjustments, and yet they stood there for 30 seconds looking under the wheel wells. Sure.
Big long stop for Brad Keselowski under that caution. He has made adjustments, that I can tell you. And Ryan Preece busted for speeding in the pit lane, so he will start at the rear. It is Blaney and Reddick on the front row here for this restart, because of course they were the two guys at the front of the field that did stop, and that's cycled them back to the front. Blaney will be the control. Larson and Byron on row 2, and then it's Bell and Briscoe on the third row.
Very glad that you reset the running order, because it has been jostled up. There was just a comment, what happened to SVG? Nothing's happened to him. He won the race off pit road, but 15 cars did not stop under the stage caution because they pitted before the stage ended. That's why Shane is down in 16th. So yes, it is a jumbled up running order. That's the radio person in me wanting to reset the running order, even have it on your screen. Here comes the field up out of turn number 20 into the Echo Park Automotive Restart Zone. Green flag goes up into the air. Ryan Blaney and Tyler Reddick, as Matt mentioned, on the front row. Kyle Larson and Chase Briscoe fan all the way out to driver's left. That looked like Marcus Ericsson at St. Petersburg earlier today. Reddick gets the whole shot to turn 1. One car's around. Zilich. Zilich has spun in the middle of the pack. Somehow everyone's missed him. Oh my goodness. Zilich pointed northbound in the southbound lane, and I don't know how no one hit him. Meanwhile, the rest of the field downhill through the S's. Reddick away with the lead. Blaney cleared a second. Byron third. We are still green, and Tyler Reddick is out in front.
Yeah, it looks like Connor's got himself back under rolling again. We'll catch up with that in a minute. I think it was Daniel Suarez that got into him, but we'll come back to that. So it's Reddick clear from Blaney, Byron, and it is Briscoe and Larson side by side coming out of 6B for 4th place. Suarez just in behind this battle with Bell, and they are still side by side, but it's Reddick for the lead at the moment.
So Reddick with his nose in the wind. Blaney in line second, locks up the right front just a bit. So Reddick, who did not lead a lap from the pole, looks like he's going to lead the first lap off the restart. Meanwhile, the jockeying continues further back in the pack with guys on fresh tires trying to take advantage of it. Daniel Suarez elbows Christopher Bell wide in turn 15. He's also going after Kyle Larson. Austin Dillon's up there. Bell gets shut off by Chase Briscoe. What a wild and woolly first lap off the restart this has been. Tyler Reddick trying to tiptoe away from all of it. He's followed by Blaney, Byron, Larson, and Suarez.
We know Kyle Larson loves to put himself in the position of racing anything. Well, he was doing his best job interview there for the MotoGP race here at COTA in a few weeks' time, backing it into turn 15 and giving Chase Briscoe the elbow. That would not have pleased Chase, you can be sure. Here's Van Gisbergen in the middle of a bit of a hornet's nest here. All the yellow cars around him, Gillen, Logano, but he's trying to pick his way through as best he can. Bell clears Briscoe through turn 2. That's for 6th.
Position that Bell takes from his teammate Briscoe. Gibbs cars have run well here at the start, with Bell and Briscoe towards the front in that first stage, and they still are here. Cole Custer breaking up into the top 10 after flipping the stage there, and well, I thought we were going to see what happened to Connor Zilich on that restart. Matt, I'll try to tell you from my second screen, but they've come from a mile overhead and could not tell you who turned Zilich around.
Yeah, I think it was Suarez too. Here we go. We'll see it better from this second angle. He hits Connor in the braking zone, actually vaulted Connor to the right, and he had to steer away from the traffic over his right-hand shoulder. And as you said in the live call, incredible that no one else clattered into the side of him. Second day in a row that Connor Zilich has been taken out.
Oh, wow. So possibly we're just getting a report in our ears, and I don't know if everybody else heard that or not. I'm guessing not. Tyler Reddick could be is reporting a possible loose wheel. Now, I don't know. Yeah, anything is possible, Matt, but I would imagine if you've made 40 turns, which he now has since the pit stop, that if that wheel was loose, it would be off.
Yeah, that would have come off pre the end of the first stage if there had been an issue. As Kyle Larson ducks underneath Daniel Suarez, that was an elevator move on a road course there from Larson. He went from top to bottom to get that move done in
Stay
turn one.
consistent. It should. Best we can tell in pictures, the D10s look locked where it is at a minimum.
Yeah, I don't think Tyler has to worry, and that was Tyler Reddick radio with crew chief Billy Scott. No, you're
That's
good.
okay.
And Billy Scott telling him that I don't think it's a loose wheel, Matt. I mean, that's good and bad. It's good that it's not a loose wheel. It's bad that there's a vibration and they don't know what it is.
Well, I suspect perhaps running around a bit slower and running on some different parts of the racetrack under the caution, it might be pickup.
Yeah.
But Noah Gregson has picked up a problem. He is nose first in the wall, and just as JB mentioned, in the 6A, 6B section, he got it in reverse and carried on going. We stay green, but Noah Gregson helped around there.
Yeah. And next will be JB with your lottery numbers as Gregson gets back going. He's never loved the road courses, have Noah,
No.
and he talks very openly about it. So he gets back going. Everybody on the lead lap, by the way, so he will fall all the way to stone last in 37th. By the way, where did Connor end up at? Connor Zilich 35th as we speak, as we see this for absolutely no reason. As Tyler Reddick
doing donuts in Atlanta last week with CM Punk in the passenger seat in at Raw a couple of weeks ago.
Yes.
The Daytona 500 winner and the World Heavyweight Champion. What a sight.
Sight for sore eyes. Connor
Indeed
Zilich
so.
did
the best in the world and the best at Daytona.
Back in the 35th position is Connor. Suarez and Larson still battling hammer and tong for the 4th position. By the way, just got some radio from Shane Van Gisbergen under that caution, Matt, and he was told to just keep it in mind, and we will keep it in mind too. Fall off there a little bit worse than the Roval. Well, if it's worse than the Roval, then I mean, my God, tire fall off at the Roval was unseen amounts. As speaking of Van Gisbergen, he makes a pass look very seamless on Austin Dillon, taking over the 8th position at turn 6. Now Todd Gilliland will try to follow Van Gisbergen past Dillon, as Gilliland shoves Dillon wide at turn 12, but Van Gisbergen with a very easy pass there, gave him the Linda Ronstadt, Blue Bayou, and Van Gisbergen up to 8th.
Much like the tyre fall off at the Roval, Shane Van Gisbergen was also unseen in the 3rd stage. So perhaps that will bode well for him later on. He's now up, as you mentioned, up in 8th position off the restart, making his way through. Here are the leaders back into the final couple of corners. It's Reddick, Blaney, Byron have got a bit of a gap in front of that Suarez-Larson battle, which Daniel Suarez has got back through on Larson on this lap and is back up in the 4th position. But Reddick continues to lead out the final corner.
Just a reminder about that 3rd stage, Matt, and what we were just talking about with Noah Gregson spinning and hitting a barrier, but no caution. It takes a lot to get a caution around here because it's such a long lap. They will give guys plenty of time to get back going before they trigger a yellow. I say that to say that final stage is a slog. 50 laps around here is a long distance. So if it were to stay green in that final stage, the way it has for the first, nearly 30 laps of this race, how many pit stops would you make in 50 laps? At least 2.
Yeah, I was going to say probably going to be a 2-stopping stage if you were a flipper at the end of this stage. And of course, this stage, relatively speaking, is less laps than the first one because of the caution laps from the end of stage 1. So yeah, probably going to be a two-stop stage. The way that fall off is going and tyres are fading away. AJ Allmendinger in a battle with Austin Dillon there as we watch on the 3 leaders, Reddick, Blaney and Byron heading towards turn 15.
Can confirm that a stage flipper is different than a relationship swinger as Reddick continues to lead Blaney and Byron. There are slight differences. There are slight differences in those two categories.
Yeah.
Ty Gibbs trying to maneuver his way around Austin Dillon, and he does in turn 16 or whatever corner that is. I think it's 16. You lose count of them. That puts Gibbs up to 10th. Ty Gibbs, good on the road courses last year, Matt. He was the, what are we looking at with all the curbing? My God. Gibbs, best in show. Yeah. Yeah, the Fox is in an ad break, but it is side by side, so the whole world got the shot of the curbs anyway. Ty Gibbs, best in show to Shane Van Gisbergen last summer in Mexico City.
Yes, until they got themselves in a bit of a pickle with the strategy, which got them back in the field, much like they did for the rest of them at the Roval, as we were just mentioning before. So, tumultuous week for Joe Gibbs Racing and the 54 camp, you could say.
Top three still tied together, very, very close together. Reddick, Blaney, Byron through 6B, that just about 90-degree left-hander, and down the short back chute. Again, this back straightaway is very long on the normal course, but not here. And it's Reddick who stays out in front. I do wonder, Matt, if Ryan Blaney is just managing the tire fall off, because how long was it before he took the lead and was never seen again in stage one? It was about 8 laps, and we've been
Something like that,
here for about 5, I'm wanting to say. So has not made any kind of moves on Reddick. Looks like he is just biding his time little by little.
Good to see Daniel Suarez up towards the sharp end again this week. He was he featured a little bit in the race towards the end of the proceedings at Atlanta last Sunday, and yes, he's just signed a new deal with a new team. We talked about this in the off season. Regan?
Race that we have had this year, and Kyle reported to his team under the most recent yellow for the stage break. His cool shirt is not working. He does run the cool shirt as well as a helmet hose, so he does have air to his helmet. But Kevin and Clint, you know as well as I do, if that shirt's not working, it's going to be hot. They got a plan to give him ice packs on each pit stop.
Yeah, and it is not.
Well, Kyle Larson there reporting that his cool suit's not working, and when those things don't work, they actually end up working in reverse, because instead of keeping it cool, the liquid inside the system gets hot and then cooks you from the inside out. So not a great start to the afternoon in terms of that for Kyle Larson, and we'll keep a monitoring on that. It's not slowing him down any, because car 5 is P5 at the moment.
It is warm in Texas in March, shock horror, 85 degrees here in Austin today, so it is a hot one.
One of the reasons this race is on the calendar in this slot.
Yes, exactly right. First day of March, of course, which means madness awaits. If you are joining us on Ultimate Sports Media, Ultimate Sports Media Network, on the Ultimate Sports team, we're just going to have 47 different names because that's how many channels we're going to go through eventually. Get ready for basketball, a lot of it over the next month or so. Reddick continues to lead. Blaney is only a couple of car lengths back second. They have started to slip away just slightly from William Byron. How about Alex Bowman, Matt? Where is that 48 car at? He's 19th. Only 2 drivers have run every Cup race at COTA and finished in the top 10 in all of them. One is Tyler Reddick. The other is Alex Bowman.
Underrated on the road courses, Alex Bowman, and that stat backs it up. And of course, he won the second Chicago race a couple of years back in the wild race that was.
Dry to wet to dry.
Yeah, wet to dry, wet to dry, dry to wet. So having a decent enough day at the moment in 19th, as you mentioned. So keep a track on him. Conor Zilic, by the way, 31st on the recovery after that spin at the top of the hill on the restart. Chase Elliott just in front of him, 30th after his elongated pit stops in the end of the stage.
Bowman desperately needs a good, just solid run today. Average finish of the first 2 races of 31.5 puts him 32nd in the championship standings. In fact, talk about a who that's outside the top 30 in the championship standings coming into this race, Matt. Christopher Bell 31st, Alex Bowman 32nd, Ty Gibbs 33rd, Austin Dillon 34th, Conor Zilic 36th. A lot of talent right there outside the top 30.
Yeah, people that have been unlucky, unfortunate, and on the bad end of things over the first couple of laps. Good to see Brad Keselowski continuing in his car. They have Joey Hand on standby today for Brad, and as we know, Keselowski broke his leg in the off-season, still hobbling around with a crutch or cane or stick, whatever you're choosing verbiage. But Brad's going to be talking about Carl Larson getting his issue with the call suit. Brad's going to be feeling it inside that number 6 today.
So Keselowski did say before the race that he is hoping to do the whole race. He's planning to. Of course, let's go to pit road to hear more.
He said, I just do what I can during simulation time with these drivers. He's even giving nuggets to Brad Keselowski, who obviously is struggling, and the car is not to his liking. But I asked Joey about him maybe getting in the car today, and he goes, I have faith in Brad. He's determined to finish this race, and he goes, I'm just going to wear my shorts out here so I know I'm not getting in the race car.
Yeah. No.
Well, Brad Keselowski in that very green Graza number 6 Ford. Yes, it was announced this week that Graza is the official olive oil of NASCAR because we all needed an official olive oil of NASCAR. Wait until next week when the official toilet seat of NASCAR gets announced. It will be Booty Barker's toilet seats.
Ah, very good.
I've never once heard of Graza. I tried to support NASCAR sponsors, and they're the official olive oil sponsor of NASCAR. I'd like to support them, but where the hell do you find Graza? Anyway.
Just need someone to pick up Truist as a sponsor, really, don't we, throughout the season?
In many ways, yes, but carry on, Matt, please.
Stage 2, lap 13, which is lap 33 of the race, and Tyler Reddick continues to lead the way by half a second from Ryan Blaney. William Byron is third, about a second or so back from the 12. Daniel Suarez and Kyle Larson complete the top 5. Bell, Briscoe, Van Gisbergen, Allmendinger, and Todd Gilliland having a perhaps unexpected run so far today. He's just actually been overtaken by Ty Gibbs for 10th spot, with the 34 car up in the mix in this first third of this Duramax Texas Grand Prix.
Yeah, they've changed the name on us of the last 2 races. But yes, they've changed the name of the last 2 races on us from the Auto Trader 400 and the Duramax Texas Grand Prix. Change of position in 6A, Van Gisbergen takes Christopher Bell, and that is the 7th position now for Shane Van Gisbergen as he makes his way by the reigning race winner here at Circuit of the Americas. Van Gisbergen, Matt, in 7th, about 7 seconds behind the lead.
Of course, we're going to Phoenix next week, so it'll be the Subway Eat Fresh 500.
Take me. Take me.
So Van Gisbergen making moves through the field then, as he did it sort of in the middle of the first stage, had his sort of spurt at the beginning, where he picked up some spots off the start, then sort of settled, and then picked some people off as the tyres began to wear. I come back to the tyre whisperer nickname yet again. So Van Gisbergen picking his way through a bit further back here, just outside the top 10. Who are we looking at here? Joey Logano. He's up behind Austin Dillon. Then it is the Stage 1 winner, Ross Chastain, Cole Custer, and Chris Buescher all together.
Yeah, they are getting strung out, but there are pockets of cars that aren't getting strung out too. Oh, some lockup there. Was that from Reddick or Blaney? It was one of them.
Yeah, it was Blaney in hot behind Reddick at the top of the hill, but squeaked the left front, and no harm, no foul, but he would have marked that tyre up slightly there as he continues to pursue the man that's won the first 2 races of the season.
Boy, I tell you, if he wins again today, Michael Jordan's just going to be a Fox fixture.
I take it he's here again today.
I mean,
be surprised if he wasn't.
Yeah. I mean, he's got a streak going.
He might be the lucky charm after all.
Fox fixture brought to you by Fred's. Let's go to pit road.
On board with Ty Gibbs right here.
Yeah.
Well,
maybe not.
Half of the course.
Anyway, we struggle to go to pit road with Fox anyway. So
And they flew Jamie Little all the way from Florida overnight to get her here.
yeah, they did. Look at Jamie go! Look at Jamie go! Just heard Daryl there for some reason. Little Jamie baby. As I said, take what was that? 2010? Yeah, take me.
Something like that, yeah.
11 laps to go, about to be 10 in stage number 2 of the Duramax Texas Grand Prix. And next week here on USM and JBM, we will be with you, of course, for a tremendous weekend of racing. Well, in other places too. But for now, I'm going to talk to you about the tremendous week of racing in Phoenix, Arizona. As next weekend, the NTT IndyCar Series comes back to Phoenix on a short week. Just 6 days after their opener today in St. Petersburg, they'll be in Phoenix, back on the 1 Mile Bull Ring to run the Good Ranchers 250. That's Saturday at 3 p.m. Eastern Time. Then on JBM, that will be followed by the NASCAR O'Reilly Auto Parts Series Gov X 200 at Phoenix. That's a primetime race at 7:30 next Saturday. And then Sunday, the NASCAR Cup Series back in action at Phoenix as well. We'll have all of those races covered for you and more. Perhaps from Australia, as many question marks are around that, apparently. We talked about this in the first broadcast of the day, Matt, in the IndyCar race. I could not be more out of the loop. This is the most out of the loop I've been on Formula One in a long time. I will have to rely on you folks at Grid, well, and just you, Matt, because we talk every day, and no one watches more motor racing than Matt White. I've said it many times. I will have to rely on you lot more than ever, because I am not paying for another streaming service. I will not do it.
Ooh, yes, I'd forgotten about that.
I'm not doing it.
About...
He says after Ferrari wins the first 2 races, and then I make the purchase for Apple TV.
At least you can watch the Canadian Grand Prix on. You can watch the Canadian Grand Prix on Netflix though in the summer. Oh, hang on a minute. You won't be. You'll be watching the Indianapolis 500.
I sure as hell will, Matt. Yeah, I wonder why they put that on Netflix. Could it possibly be
really?
trying to take viewers away from another race? Anyway, not paying for another.
All cynical. You'd be correct.
But what I do hear is that Ferrari can go from for the last 2 years they haven't been able to qualify. Apparently now they don't need to qualify because they can just go from 22nd on the grid to the lead by turn 4. From what I hear with Ferrari starts.
Well, yes, all things up in the air about many things, including the Australian Grand Prix. We've been here before. It was about 6 years ago where we, of course, closed the whole planet down, put the safety car out under the. Yeah, did that as well.
The Ferrari rear wing is tremendous. My rear wing you can leave out of this conversation. We have some comments here. Yeah, we have some comments here that are very intriguing to me, and it has nothing to do with the hand. JB, yes?
Matthew, I have tonsillitis. Please stop making me laugh out loud.
Sorry. Shane Van Gisbergen has just maneuvered his way past Daniel Suarez. Takes Van Gisbergen up to the 4th position. New Zealander past a Mexican there. It's NASCAR, man. But yes, the comments that I wanted to mention that has nothing to do about the race from Eagle Sky, Flyer Evo, Graza Organic Olive Oil, Graza Sizzle Extra Virgin Olive Oil, Frizzle High Heat Cooking Oil. Graza also has mayonnaise. You never have to worry about me making any kind of mayonnaise purchase. It is made apparently in Spain. Yes, because a Spanish-made olive oil I always expected to be on the hood and quarter panels of a NASCAR stock car. Let's pick up a battle in the S's for 7th on the course.
Kyle Larson and Christopher Bell side by side coming down the hill for 7th position. Larson has the spot as they head into the S's, which is single file, especially with the big tyre stacks at every apex through here this year. AJ Allmendinger in behind, and he's having a look to see if he can stick the inside down. Christopher Bell contact in the braking zone of turn 6. Bell does not slide too wide, but he leaves the door open for AJ, who will nick through and will bring through Ty Gibbs here as well, getting into the middle of this, and Michael McDowell, who's a bit skittily under braking. They've all passed Bell, and it is Gibbs and AJ Allmendinger side by side.
Door to door here, Gibbs and Allmendinger heading to turn 13 and 14. The double apex right-hander Michael McDowell watching this battle every step of the way. Christopher Bell has had to step away from the battle where he was going to get beat up here. Gibbs winds his way to turn 15. Inside line there, he makes the pass on Allmendinger, so that moves Gibbs up into the 8th position. Allmendinger down to 9th. McDowell breaks the top 10. Bell backslides into the 11th position. All of this happening with 8, about to be 7 laps to go in this second stage. Tyler Reddick leads Ryan Blaney by 1 second. It's then 2.5 seconds back to William Byron, then another 4 to Shane Van Gisbergen. That's the top 4 runners here. And again, we will see who decides to flip the stage here over the next 4 or 5 laps. Comment in the chat section from Iceman_Kimmy7. I'll leave this for you, Matt. How is Reddick this good? Is it from the Performance Boost lawsuit settlement or something? Well, this is
well, cynical.
yes. I mean, statistically, this is his best racetrack.
Yeah, he never qualified or finished outside the top 5 in what was this, the sixth race here on the either the long track or the short version of Circuit of the Americas. So does go extremely well at this racetrack, and those two leaders are now stretched out to 4 seconds clear of William Byron, who's just calling himself off here in 3rd position and trying to maybe get those tyres to the end of the stage. Perhaps we're about to get back into the flip zone for the second time today as we get towards maybe 6 laps to go in this stage at the end of this lap.
To follow up on that comment that Iceman_Kimmy7 left, Reddick really dropped anchor in that first stage, Matt, and it didn't look like he liked the way the car was handling, maybe a lot of tire fall off, but he's led this stage from the drop of the green flag, and Blaney, who dominated that first stage, really hasn't even tried to take a peek around him. So I guess that raises the question, is Reddick better, or is Blaney just kind of just settled in where he's at? Because if the first stage is any reflection of what the second stage will be, Blaney's not in this to win the stage. He'll flip it.
Yeah, and Iceman Kimmy7 or whatever the username, including another Ferrari fan like yourself, I'm guessing, with a username like that. So, yeah, going to be interesting to see what happens here, because, again, we talked about at the end of the stage 1, Blaney had 5 seconds as we go to Larry.
And if you go back to stage 1, we had a number of drivers that pitted with 3 to go. Then we had some with 2 to go, like Ryan Blaney, who was leading. I honestly believe, with what I'm seeing right now, that if you're going to chase this race win, you're going to have to flip the stage. You're going to have to pit before it closes. Now, I will say the fly in the ointment could be a man we call SVG. He's got a good enough race car. He may can chase stage points. That last stage, we're going to go back racing. We're probably 46 laps to go. There will be at least one stop in that final stage.
Oh, at least one. At least. And as we talked about, maybe even 2, if that stage plays out the way we think it might. It is interesting to try to handicap this race from where it is now, Matt, because to what Larry just said, he believes to win the race, you're going to have to flip the stage. Case in point, Ross Chastain did not flip the won stage 1 and now is mired in traffic 15th. Let's go to pit road.
Opposite from what's going on with his teammate Shane Van Gisbergen. He has struggled mightily this run. Once he got back in traffic, he's too tight. He's sliding the fronts, no rear grip. Everything has gone wrong for this one car as they've gotten back in that traffic.
Wow.
Just as Regan said, he's sliding rear grip. He slid rear grip.
Oh, and again on the exit.
Wow. So, yeah, Chastain is really struggling here. So to the point that I was just making, Matt, he's gotten caught in traffic after not flipping the stage and, well, has not worked out well.
Yeah, so we're probably going to get a slightly surprise winner of this second stage when it comes to the crunch here, because you've got a fairly good feeling that most of the guys in and around the top 10 are going to pit before the end of the stage, as Daniel Suarez becomes under increasing attack here for 5th as they come through the S's. He's got Chase Briscoe up behind him, and Briscoe being joined and almost being joined in his driver's door by Ty Gibbs on the entry to turn 6.
as you look at the running order on your screen on JBM and USM, you can see some drivers in the top 10. Let's run through some of those guys for you. Ty Gibbs is 7th, trying to take 6th. He's 33rd in the championship standings, Matt. AJ Allmendinger is 18th in the championship standings. Michael McDowell is 20th. Kyle Larson is 21st. 4 drivers there that might want to take those stage points.
Yeah, very true. We'll have to wait and see how this plays out. Gibbs does get past Briscoe, who now falls into the clutches of AJ Allmendinger in the Celsius 16. He's going to try and round him up round the outside of the triple apex right hand, around the back of the auditorium, and Allmendinger gets it done and squeezes across the front of Briscoe on the entry to 19.
So Allmendinger up a place as well. Briscoe, I feel like this happened to Briscoe in stage 1, where he just parachute out the back as he gives a push to the back of AJ Allmendinger in turn 20, the only turn 20 in NASCAR. Now, Pocono has nothing on this place. What turn 24? Not here. 4 laps to go in stage 2. Tyler Reddick by 1.25 seconds on Ryan Blaney. And we do have a flipper on pit road. It's Chris Buescher the flipper, in the Trimble Ford.
Alex Bowman in as well. And Jesse Love.
And one more down there.
Right up pit lane, seeing who's there.
Denny Hamlin as well on pit road. Tyler Reddick continues to lead. We're coming to 3 to go in the stage, so we should see pit road get pretty busy here on this incoming lap.
These 2 leaders, by the way, if you're not looking closely at the timing on your screen, they're now 6 seconds clear of William Byron, who is about 1.5 seconds clear of SVG in 4th. So here comes Reddick and Byron through the long right-hander, the final right-hander on the lap. Will Reddick give up the chance for points here as he heads toward the corner? Suarez and Gibbs side by side.
I get the feeling we're going to see just about all these leaders come to pit road. Certainly Reddick, Blaney, and Byron and Van Gisbergen, they feel like they have cars that can win the race. I think they will flip it, and indeed Reddick is in. Oh, we got a car around. Who is that? That is Josh Berry.
Berry.
Josh
in the middle
Berry
of the stadium section.
Tagged one of those tire barriers, but he's kept it going. We are still green. The leader, Reddick, on pit road. Regan.
Pit stall, it's pit stall number 1 that he has. What every crew chief wants to hear from the driver. Tyler said the balance is good. Don't change a thing. Only thing he's asking for is a water bottle. That's all he wants.
So Reddick pits. Ryan Blaney did not, but again, as the leader, he can pit this upcoming lap and still be good and not have to serve a penalty. So Blaney leads from Byron, Van Gisbergen. That's your top 3. Then Gibbs and Allmendinger. We did stay green through the Josh Berry spin in what looked to be Sector 3.
Yeah, it looked like it was in the stadium section.
And a change at 2nd. Van Gisbergen at 6B takes over the spot from Byron.
So up into, 3rd really, because Reddick was, of course, in front of them prior to his pit stop. So Van Gisbergen continuing to march through the field as they slip and slide their way with these very worn Goodyear tyres now through this stadium section, and they will be screaming to get rid of them. Perhaps this time, at least this front 3, as we suspect, will head to pit road. That would leave Ty Gibbs at the head of the field, but we'll see what happens.
I think Gibbs might be the first one that may choose to take the stage points, but we will see what happens indeed here as the leaders approach pit entry. Blaney, is he making the left-hand turn to pit road or not? Van Gisbergen is, and presumably Blaney is, and he is. So Blaney's in, along with Van Gisbergen and Byron. Let's go to Jamie.
A little bit too tight, and he was worse on the front stretch. Just an air pressure adjustment of 4 tires for Blaney.
Dave Van Gisbergen in the number 97, having a great run back up through the field after, of course, pitting there on that last stage break. Right now, he's told the team that the car is much better this time, just giving up a little bit too much with the right front. That's the corner he's most concerned about right now.
So Blaney will beat these 2 off of pit road. He had a big lead on them. We'll see who comes out Ooh, Kyle Larson came to pit road. Did he get to pit entrance before the leader took 2 to go? That will be interesting to see. I'm not sure he did. Ty Gibbs stayed out. He's the leader, and he's on his way to winning the stage unless A.J. Allmendinger can run him down from about a 2 3/4 back. We will have to check on that 5 car of Larson whether he got in or not. Alex Bowman has a penalty, apparently, for an uncontrolled tire, and we're going to check on his teammate Kyle Larson to see if he'll have a penalty to serve or not. So Bowman definitely a penalty for a pit road infraction in the box, and we'll check on Larson. As we hypothesized might happen, Matt, Gibbs, Allmendinger, Suarez, Gilliland, drivers that are pretty far down the points order through the first 2 races. They want to get the stage points, and they're in position to get them. Darrell Wallace Jr. is now up to 5th. He told us last week to pray for him because he hates road courses so much and he's not good at them. So it looks like he's going to stay out to get stage points. He is in 5th. And then despite flipping the stages, Reddick and Blaney are 6th and 7th.
So here's Ty Gibbs then through the final corner. He's going to rumble out of there and come across the line to start the final lap of the second stage with A.J. Allmendinger, as you mentioned, behind him. Oh, look, it's the championship positions. Reddick in front of Wallace. So that will be for about 6th position or so. We'll get the confirmation of that shortly.
And Reddick will have so much fresher tires. Blaney will probably blast his way around Wallace pretty soon as well. Meanwhile, Austin Dillon has, let's go to Jamie real quick first.
Practice, Abe, he was struggling, 35th overall, but they didn't panic, came out, had a great qualifying effort in the top 10. They changed a lot of things on this race car, and it's been good for him today. Hasn't said a whole lot, but this right here was exactly part of the plan. Maximize points today and get out of this hole.
That's exactly what we were just talking about. Try to get the stage points that you can absolutely get with the right strategy rather than worry about where you finish at the end of the race versus everyone else on the same strategy. Austin Dillon says his shifter is laying beside him, flat on the ground. That doesn't sound great.
Oh.
As Ty Gibbs weaves the red and white Saya number 54 Toyota through the final few corners of stage number 2. This will be at the end of the 45th lap. It will leave us 50 laps to go in regulation. Caution will come out once the top 10 cross the start-finish line here to complete this stage. But here comes Ty Gibbs into turn number 20. He's never been a bad one to pick on these road courses. He runs well on these kinds of tracks, and he needs a good run today. After starting the day 33rd in the championship standings, green and white checkered flag waves on Ty Gibbs. How about this, Matt? He's never won a stage before in his Cup career. He has now.
Well, that tops off the week that the 54 team have had, winning the stage. You've been covering off the NASCAR news cycle this week. A.J. Allmendinger 2nd and Daniel Suarez 3rd to round out the podium that doesn't exist at the end of stage 2.
Podium does exist here at COTA, though, as we know.
Indeed so.
It will not be used today, but it does exist. So stage 2 in the books, and Ty Gibbs, the stage 1 winner, despite flipping the stage. Tyler Reddick 5th, Ryan Blaney 7th, William Byron 9th, Shane Van Gisbergen 10th. So they still do get stage points, despite their flipping of the stage. That's 6 points for Reddick, 4 for Blaney, 2 for Byron, 1 for Van Gisbergen. That denies Riley Herbst of stage points as he finishes 11th. 50 laps to go in this race. So now all of that stage point conversation that we promised everyone we would have, Matt, is now over. And now we get ready for the slog, as I called it earlier, of a 50-lap final stage.
Yes, indeed so. It's we've kind of got past the sort of hurdling there of stage points and whatever else. And now we can actually get a feel for what's going to happen between now and the end of the race.
Don't panic while I just reset TV pictures, boys.
So Ty Gibbs, stage victory. And the 54 team, tough start to the year. And I mean, we talked about this, didn't we, Matt? Before the Daytona 500, during the Daytona 500, during pre-race last week. we talked about there would be teams, not a team, there would be teams that would have stuff happen to them on those 2 super speedways, and they would come to COTA in a points hole. And again, do they believe that 54 car can win the race today? Probably not. So why not go out and get the stage points as much you can?
Yeah, and they've done that job. And as Jamie said, they were sort of back end of the field through practice, had a decent or better qualifying. So the weekend is progressing for the 54. They're going to tumble back down the order here once they take their stop, but hoping that things may fall their way. Of course, we've got through 46 laps or so, whatever it is, without a caution for cause so far.
You said it.
I did. And when it happens, you can come back to me.
Yeah, indeed. We have had a couple of spins. Connor Zilich, Noah Gregson, Josh Berry, but no caution for cause. Mention it during that stage real quick, Matt. We'll go to the hot lap here momentarily. Next week, well, let's back up. Actually, let's do the hot lap first. That better leads into what I'm trying to set up here. So let's go to the hot lap, and Matt White, who watches more motor racing than anyone on the planet, will tell you what's happened in the motor racing world this weekend and what's to come next week.
Thank you, and then I can step away briefly. This is race number 95 of the year for me, by the way, for those keeping score at home. We'll start right here at Circuit of the Americas, where not just this Cup race, but we've had other racing this weekend. We had Shane Van Gisbergen win yesterday afternoon in the Grand National Series. There was also the IMSA VP Racing Sports Car Challenge in action over the weekend here on the short course at Circuit of the Americas. Wyatt Bricacek getting both victories in the 2 races there.
Can you repeat that?
We here in Europe started our day. Say again.
Can you repeat that name for me?
Wyatt Bricacek.
Of course.
Indeed so. We in Europe started our day with motorbike action from Buriram in Thailand. David Almanza getting his first World Championship victory in Moto 3 to start the day. The Moto 2 race was actually only a 7-lap affair. Championship runner-up from last year, Manuel Gonzalez, winning after 2 red flags. And in the sprint and then the MotoGP main race, Pedro Acosta winning yesterday the sprint, and Marco Bezzecchi rebounding after crashing in the lead of the sprint yesterday to win the main Grand Prix. Also this weekend, as you heard earlier on, we had the IndyCar race at St. Petersburg. They all turned up for an IndyCar race, and Alex Palou won. Also today, early before that race, Nikita Johnson getting his first Indy Next victory for Cape Motorsports. The expected drama, but actually it was a really good race yesterday afternoon for the Truck Series, was won by Lane Riggs. And also in action at St. Petersburg over the weekend, 2 races to start the season for the USF 2000. Sebastian Garzon winning yesterday, and their second race is actually happening right now. So I can't tell you what has happened in that because it has not been posted as a result. So that brings you up to speed with what's been happening so far this weekend.
And next weekend, a bunch going on, Matt, we think. We hope.
We think and we hope. As you've mentioned, IndyCar and NASCAR at Phoenix. That's the Grand National Series and the Cup Series with the IndyCars on the oval at Phoenix. And at Albert Park, Formula 1, Formula 2, Formula 3, V8 Supercars and Porsche Carrera Cup Australia on a huge mammoth bill down there at Albert Park. Yeah, as you mentioned, Circuit of the Americas, Phoenix for us, for IndyCar and for NASCAR next weekend.
And I'll let you step away before I ask you what I was going to bring up. And I will bring in JB, who I know has been watching behind the scenes and apparently laughing at times. I apologize.
Yeah, thanks.
They are fixing the shifter in the Austin Dillon car, which I'm sure is great news for him.
That looks something different to me on the monitor.
Well, yeah, indeed.
Yeah.
So your thoughts, JB, through a caution for cause free first 2 stages?
Well, the lottery numbers are 7, 15, 26, 4, 3, and 11. Bonus ball of 17. I'd said that there'd be a problem in that 6A, 6B section, and I was right. Good news, I've had some food and I'm able to swallow again. Yes, but I'm able to have a little bit of vocal range back, which is good news, which means this might be on its way out if I have a few days rest. And it looks like he's got going again as well, Matthew, so that's good news. Stage 2 was a bit uneventful, wasn't it? Just as we were predicting. So this is Bowman's uncontrolled tyre earlier on, and it's pretty similar to what we saw last week at Echo Park. Just drifting out and no one's there to collect it, and you can't go over the pit wall to get it either, because that counts as somebody else over the wall. So we saw it at Atlanta a week ago, and NASCAR staying by Draconian. Pits are open this time by, and well, I think as well we should probably mention what a bad week it's been for Joe Gibbs Racing. It really has, with the injunction, with Gayapart, and everything going on. And it was nice to see that Ty Gibbs, Matthew, you know how much, he's had such a hard life, Ty Gibbs. He really, really has. He's been so hardly done by. And it's good to see the underdog and the real, people's driver get a stage win.
Yes.
Other than is, I think Lance Stroll has just kissed a puppy.
Yes, the Austin Dillon gear shifter, as we said, was lying on the floor.
Jamie Little.
The 54 team, he said they were definitely better that run. He just wants better drive. Great run so far here. Josh.
Daniel Suarez, the initial decision was to pit when the leader did, but last minute decision to stay out at the end of that stage. He said that car is firing up well, but at the end, he's barely hanging on with those tires. Regan?
Nice job getting stage points for AJ Allmendinger, but that car is tight with the nose, has no grip in the rear. His cool suit's not working. His helmet hose is blowing hot air.
Wow.
Gibbs will win the race off of pit road. Yes, you did hear that right yesterday. If you were with us for the truck race, there was that quote about Ty Gibbs has been dealt many tough hands. Sure he has.
Yeah, like the time.
Really?
Oh, and Bubba's running to the back of Josh Berry coming into pit road. And there's a little nudge there on the 23 Robin Hood car.
So that's the second cool suit that's gone out that we've heard of, and the hose is blowing out hot air, which is just great. So that means all of the air coming from this broadcast is going into that helmet. My God.
And Matthew, this will be one for you more than it will for the rest of the crew behind the scenes here. Even with all those problems, Jordan Bianchi will still be disappointed that AJ Allmendinger doesn't win this race.
Yes, he will.
I might be being unfamiliar here, but I don't remember there being a large crane into turn 1.
No.
Like a building crane. That's new.
Yeah, I'd noticed that earlier. Of course.
JT's got something to say.
JB.
Yes, hello.
Hello, my dad has just said that you sound like a Dalek.
I feel like a Dalek.
You know how many times I've heard that today? What the hell are you talking about?
You don't know what a
Oh, my
Dalek
goodness.
is. Right,
You've not watched
Matthew,
Doctor Who, have you?
No.
No.
The Daleks. Exterminate. All that lot. And I'm doing it without a ring modulator, by the way.
I haven't.
It's just how my voice is gone. A
I'll send you a
Dalek.
picture.
Yeah. Okay. A Dalek is basically this pepper pot or a dustbin, which goes around killing loads of people. Imagine Nazis in tanks.
Sending you a picture, Owens.
Is this a British show? Was that a British show?
Doctor
Oh.
Who. Yeah. You had it over there on Disney Plus. You wrecked it.
I wouldn't
It's
know.
got a worldwide following.
Oh, what in the hell is that thing?
The Daleks in the 1960s in Great Britain, it was the Beatles and the Daleks. It was Beatlemania and Dalek mania, and I wish I was kidding. The
thought
Daleks
Beatlemania
were
was over
so
here.
popular. You had the Avengers. And that's not the Avengers of Iron Man and all that. That's the Avengers of John Steed, Mrs. Peel, Kathy Gale, and all that lot.
In a Ford Cortina.
Oh, what a car. Might watch
Well,
the Avengers.
as we wrap up English culture on the ones, I would ask the question. JB, is this killing you? Sitting in the background and not calling?
Funnily enough, I've had this once before, of course, wasn't it, when I was in hospital and I was watching you guys do the shows from my hospital bed. But it does feel real because there's nothing wrong with me this time. Like last time when I was hooked up to IVs and everything. This time it does feel weird because I know I'm physically fit. It's just the fact is that my voice and the tonsils aren't there, so I can't go up the volume levels like I usually do. So it's grating me a little bit that I can't do it. And
there's nothing wrong with him. His throat is just can't talk. Matt, there's nothing wrong with the car except it's on fire.
Yeah.
Escorts first, second, third, and fourth in this race because they are only escorts in this race.
I've never been able to use, and I've got to stop now because I've got a lump in my throat. So actually, truly,
and stop the start watch.
stop
Who
watch.
sounded worse, Matthew? Josh now or me at the 500 2 weeks ago?
Well, Matt at the 500 really toughed it out because he was going through it to begin with, and then there was this false sense of hope that there would be relief, and there wasn't.
That's right.
So, I mean, it started early
I've forgotten about that.
Very early in the race. Well, not very. Maybe
stage one.
Lap 50, lap 60 in the race, he started handing it off to me in the middle of 3 and 4, and I thought, okay, we'll just hand it off to each other in the middle of the corner. And then as it gone on, I felt like I finally hit my head that, oh wait, no, he's probably handing it to me because he can't talk any further.
I was done.
Yeah. Well,
needed 15 seconds to recoup.
That was similar to how it was in the well, not so much the trucks, that was bad, but today's St. Petersburg race. Moto 3, I was fine. Moto 2 nearly killed me with the 3 red flags and the starts. Moto GP, it was okay, but then I went to sleep to catch up and try and heal, and as soon as I woke back up, it was gone. I had nothing left for me. The opening lap of St. Petersburg sounds like a Dalek. So yeah, there you go. Stage 3, I'm sticking with my prediction of Tyler Reddick. He's got the lead at the top. And watch out for SVG in 4th. And yeah, I'll pipe up if you need me if there's a yellow. This is where hell's going to break loose. Good luck, boys.
Michael McDowell was told over the radio to be on offense on this restart. He is in row 3. You see the running order on screen with Tyler Reddick and Ryan Blaney on the front row. Reddick inside of row 1, the control car. Byron and Van Gisbergen in row 2. Here we go, Matt, for the final 45 laps. This could get very interesting on the restart because even with all this time to go, the restart could decide the race in many ways. Green flag.
Up in the air through the restart zone we come. Leaders level pegging. Chase Briscoe's got a good jump. He's going to try and jump to the inside much like he did on the initial start of this race and take it 4 wide with Byron, SVG and McDowell. Reddick's going to come out of the corner in the lead just from Ryan Blaney. Everybody else shuffling their way through. We've made it. Good stuff on all 3 restarts to get through there. Blaney goes to second. Briscoe up to third from the 3rd row ahead of Byron. Then it's SVG and I think that's Christopher Bell just tucked in behind him.
Van Gisbergen lost a spot on the restart. Reddick holds serve with the lead in hand, heading to 6. Double file further back, Joey Logano going to driver's left to Ross Chastain. He looked like a bowling ball going into that corner, Logano, but he's been able to stay off of everyone. Behind him, he's got Chris Buescher side by side with Austin Cindric. Mentioned Van Gisbergen lost a spot on the restart. He's trying to regain it into 12. It's to the inside of William Byron. Van Gisbergen gets the elbows out, shoves Byron wide. Byron comes right back at him. Meanwhile, behind those two, McDowell takes an acute angle into the corner to the inside of Kyle Larson. Bangs doors with Larson, but gets by him. Bangs doors with Bell.
Tries to go around the outside of Bell. Bell will throw him an elbow and stick him in the runoff zone. Van Gisbergen just in front of this. They told McDowell to be aggressive, and here he is. Up the inside of Bell, he actually gets the spot. So the 71's up one, but he has to slow it down in the middle of the corner. That will slow everybody up behind him, and they all manage somehow to keep straight. Here comes Kyle Larson, who avoided a penalty for his pit entry that we were looking at. He's in the mix here as well, but he's sideways through 19.
And Ross Chastain will get underneath. Here's rear spoiler, but now Larson stuffs it into 20 to try to get alongside the 20 of Christopher Bell. He cannot. So they make their way back to the main straightaway, and across the line, it's Reddick, 2 lengths ahead of Blaney. Blaney's got bus links on third place, Chase Briscoe. Byron remains in fourth as he stiff-armed Van Gisbergen away. Here comes Michael McDowell staying on the gas pedal, and now dives underneath Van Gisbergen in turn 1. It is all gas, no brakes for Michael McDowell. He has taken the word from his crew chief Travis Peterson and taken it to heart. Matt, did he get by Van Gisbergen? I don't know, but I do know that Eric Jones has spun to driver's left outside of turn 1.
Coming down the hill, gets it refired and continues. We stay green. Not sure what happened to SVG. It was if it was in the middle of frame and no one thought to pick it up there in the production truck. Anyway, at the front, Reddick leading. Van Gisbergen did stay in front. We can see him in the back of shot. So Van Gisbergen does stay 5th. Reddick continues to lead from Blaney. And a little bit gap back, as you mentioned, to Briscoe, who's being caught by William Byron.
13 and 14 are where the leaders are. Ryan Blaney, the Stage 1 winner, behind Tyler Reddick. No, not the Stage 1 winner. He flipped the stage. Right? Did he? I can't remember at this point now.
Chastain won the first stage.
Who did it? Yes, that's right. Blaney should have won Stage 1, flip the stage. Tyler Reddick should have won Stage 2, flip the stage. You get what I'm trying to say. Reddick from Blaney, then Briscoe, Byron. Van Gisbergen in 5th. Did stiff-arm McDowell away, at least for now, but the 71 seems to be on the prowl. Christopher Bell is there, just behind those two. Chastain is back into the top 10 since winning that first stage, but here comes Ryan Blaney. He cracks the whip and gets going on the back bumper of Tyler Reddick. Eric Jones outside of turn 1, Matt. He got pushed wide, tried to cut down into traffic, and just got torpedoed around.
Yeah, couldn't quite see who that was, but he came across from driver's right to left, trying to take the sort of normal line down there, but he found everybody to his inside. I'm getting a shot from AJ Allmendinger, who was right behind that, managed to dodge and weave and avoid, but still didn't quite see who it was that turned the 43 around.
It was a red and black car. I initially said Cody Ware. I'm mistaken. It was Carson Hocevar.
Of course it was.
The black Chili's mobile. As Carson riding the Dente again this weekend.
The Intimidente.
Yes, indeed. Thank you. Meanwhile, Shane Van Gisbergen says he's struggling with rear lateral grip in that 97 car. There's no doubt, Matt, he doesn't have... This is not like the 5 road course races he won last year. He is not just far and away better than everyone else today. He might still win, but he's not going to win this race by a mile like he did Mexico and Watkins Glen and Sonoma and the Roval. He's going to have to step up his game and rip the trophy out of the hands of, more than likely, Reddick or Blaney.
Yeah, we'll have to wait and see how the strategy rolls through in this final stage and if there's going to be any cautions and whatnot, but doesn't look like it on true speed that 97 has got it for, well, a couple of, if not more than 3 guys in front of him at the moment. The leaders are well clear now, heading back up the hill to turn 1, which they take. Reddick swinging through. Chase Briscoe on the defensive there against William Byron a little bit further back. Who was that trying to make a move? I think that was Kyle Busch trying to swing one up the inside of somebody at turn 1.
Get ready to see only Toyotas for the next 90 seconds as Fox is doing Toyota Racing All Out. Could just keep on the battle for the lead, but I'm sure we'll check on Riley Herbst in 31st here in a moment, as it is still Reddick leading Ryan Blaney back into the course out of 6B. They'll shoot down towards 12. Black and ruby red, number 45 of Reddick. That's the Chumba Casino colors that he took to victory at Daytona in the 500. Ryan Blaney twitchy coming out of 12 behind him. These two have about 10 car lengths on Chase Briscoe in 3rd. William Byron in 4th still has a healthy gap to Van Gisbergen in 5th, who has not been able to make up any ground after losing that spot on the restart. 42 laps to go, as we've talked about in this final stage. Certainly one pit stop to be made in this final stage. for tire purposes and for fuel purposes. What we don't know is what crew chiefs might two-stop the stage. That's what we're waiting to find out, especially if it does stay green throughout, Matt. And again, we have not had a caution for cause through 54 laps.
Yeah, you might find a bunch of people that just aren't confident or have got the longevity in their tyres to do the two-stop tango and end up going with a three-stop strategy in this stage. And then if there's a caution, it might either fall their way or completely sucker punch them for the rest of the afternoon. So it's going to be interesting to see how that all pans out. Let's have a quick look at what's happening for third. Chase Briscoe's continuing in that third position, having a really strong day in front of William Byron just behind him. They're both being caught by Van Gisbergen, though, so after his early troubles off the restart and complaining of the grip issues that you said he'd been reporting on the radio, he is now reeling back in the guys just in front of him.
Briscoe could win this race, Matt, if we get overtime or maybe a restart with 5 to go. Short run speed's good in that 19, but after about 5 to 8 laps, I just think there's too much fall off on the 19 car.
Yeah, we saw that, didn't we, in the second stage especially. So it's going to be interesting to see what adjustments they made for the incoming tyres or setup on that car as Ryan Blaney gets right to the back here of Reddick in the stadium section, trying to put him under some pressure. Reddick has to defend through the left-hander at 15, but Blaney might have the exit here.
Blaney did not show any kind of offensive strategy in that second stage. He was just very happy staying right behind Tyler Reddick, which he did for that entirety of the second stage after leading the majority of the first stage. Now Blaney, who legged out a 6-second lead in stage 1, may have the best car here, or at least joint best car here, applying some pressure on Reddick. Through the apex of turn 20, they'll swing it wide to driver's right across the candy cane striped curbing and back to the main straightaway. Reddick crosses the line and climbs the hill with a tenuous lead of a car length and a half. Reddick, defensive line, swerves to the left. Blaney in his tire tracks, might take a tighter angle through turn 1, but he can't make an assault. Reddick continues to lead. They downhill plunge to turn 2.
Perhaps there was a conversation between Jonathan Hassler, Ryan Blaney and the 12 crew for stage 2, knowing that they were going to flip it. Absolutely no need to go all out here, and maybe he just sat in behind and scoped Reddick out for that duration of stage 2 to see what he had, as Reddick was a bit deep there into 6, but managed to get it sorted. So yeah, perhaps a little bit of scouting going on from the 12 team there in stage 2 to get them in a position here to overcome the 45 in the final stage. A little bit of battling between them has actually brought the two behind a little bit closer on this lap.
Well, and it's also sped Tyler Reddick up. He wanted to stay in front of Blaney, and the way I can tell you that is Shane Van Gisbergen has had the Xfinity fastest lap point since about lap 2 of this race. He has it no longer. Tyler Reddick has just set the fastest lap of the race, Matt, and it was the first lap under the 100-second bracket all day long. He just ran a lap of 99.933 seconds with 41 laps to go, so he just set the fastest lap of the race. Further back, it's a hornet's nest. Where in the world is this at? This is at about 15th on back. Chase Elliott, Ty Gibbs, Ty Dillon, Joey Logano. What a hornet's nest of cars this is outside the top dozen.
Yeah, our stage 2 winner, Ty Gibbs, way in the back here. Here's Connor Zilic. Let's see what's happening with young Connor in the 88. Of course, had that spin at the start of the second stage off the bumper of Daniel Suarez. He is now in 12th position. And he is
second on the restart. So that's 10 places on the restart for Connor.
Excellent stuff. And he's now trying to close in on Austin Cindric, who, again, is someone we probably should talk about in these road course races. And we haven't talked about it too much. When he came up from Xfinity, he hasn't really produced the goods as we expected him to do so, turning right and left. But he's just outside the top. He just got into the top 10 in the number 2 car.
Yeah, Zilic and Gibbs both have taken 10 positions off this restart, and Zilic is on the move here, making the left-hand turn at 6B all over the back of the discount deuce of Austin Cindric. Here is Zilic looking to driver's left on the way to turn 12, and Cindric did everything but get out of the car and just wave him past. Zilic moves up into the 10th position as he makes the move on Cindric. So that's 10th for the Red Bull Chevrolet. Now, a lot of people are high on him winning a race at some point this season as a rookie. and especially on these road courses. And we know he is a road course star, and we know he is a star in the making in this sport. I will just say again, the thing for rookies in this series that they can't quite get their arms around, or it takes a while for them to get their arms around, as hard as you race for first, third, or fifth in the Grand National Series, they race just as hard in this series for 27th, for 32nd, for 36th. That is the level of step up when you go from Tier 2 to Tier 1, Matt. But Zilich in the top 10 here in the final stage. What is this? 3 wide in turn 1. Kyle Larson cuts drastically from right to left. He'll overtake Christopher Bell. He'll try to get by Ross Chastain in the same move.
Didn't quite make it stick. Slides in between Bell and Chastain. Does Larson as they head towards the S's. Yeah, I'm very high on Conor Zilich perhaps winning this year. It's going to be interesting to see how he gets on over the next handful of weeks, isn't it? When we're back to some quote-unquote normal racetracks, Vegas, Phoenix, and the like coming up over the next few weeks. He's just, with that battling that those trio we just mentioned have had, that has brought Zilich right to the back of this group. He would love a top 10 after the start to his season. That you can be sure.
36th in the championship standings, lowest of all the chartered cars through the first 2 weeks, as Zilich returns to Phoenix, which, of course, we know last November NASCAR tied his hands behind his back and made him drive with his knees in the Xfinity Series championship race, and didn't win the championship, which was, you know, the worst thing that's ever happened in the history of the sport. Ty Dillon, until the day after. Ty Dillon trying to pass Joey Logano, which is a sentence and a half. Even crazier, he's done it for 15th.
As they come through the right-hander, Gibbs holding on around the outside here. They're side by side, number to number. As they head towards 19, Gibbs will have the inside line and force Logano out as he bounces his way across the sausage curve on the inside there. Position gain for Ty Gibbs.
And Gibbs is the highest up of all of the drivers that did not flip stage 2. He's up to 16th with that pass. Meanwhile, Zilich is on the attack again, trying to go the long way around Christopher Bell in turn 1 to take over 9th, and I think he's going to do it. He has.
Trailer Park Girls around the outside there for Conor Zilich on Christopher Bell at the top of turn 1. So that puts him up in a 9th. Next target acquired is Kyle Larson. Then it's Ross Chastain, the stage 1 winner.
Felt like Conor just needed 1, a long run, and 2, just to get out of the chaos of, 16th to 30th.
Which they tried to put him in, of course, at the end of the first stage when they the strategy. He was on the 3rd or 4th row on that restart before he got Suarez'd at the top of the hill.
Exactly. Blaney continues to be within arm's distance of Reddick, and since their little battle about 3 laps ago, Blaney has not taken a peek right or left. Here's Zilich doing more damage here as he rubs up against Kyle Larson. Alongside Larson, Ross Chastain also in the mix. Now Larson's going to muscle Zilich wide on the exit of turn 15. So Zilich trying to make up another spot, and he has. He's past the defending series champion Larson, and that puts Conor Zilich up yet another spot. He'll have his teammate Ross Chastain in front of him. And speaking of Trackhouse cars, Shane Van Gisbergen did just get around William Byron to take over 4th. Chastain is 7th. Zilich is 8th. Good day for Trackhouse, triple top 10 with 36 laps to go.
Yeah, and forgot to mention it when we did the hot lap. Both of their MotoGP bikes in the top 5 in Buriram as well, so it's a really good day for the Trackhouse organisation. Here's Bell, got a great launch out of the final corner and will sneak past Kyle Larson as they come up across the line. But Larson with a dive, tries to go back underneath. There's contact heading towards turn 1. These two do not get on from time to time. We saw that at Watkins Glen a couple of years ago, but Bell keeps the spot for now. Kyle Busch involved in this now as well.
These two are really good friends until they're not. And here they are battling for the 9th position. And Larson, after being in a position to maybe win or certainly get a good finish last week and throwing it away needlessly at the end of stage 2, that was a lot of the talk of the week in NASCAR Nation, was Larson has got to cut those kinds of mistakes out of his game. And little contact there with Bell. And now, that was at turn 1. How about at 12? Right up underneath the spoiler of Bell. Meanwhile, Zilich won't stop passing cars. He's passed number 1, Chastain.
This it's a great drive from Connor, but it does feel a little bit like, actually, forget that. Let's carry on with this, because Larson's all over the back of Bell, and he's down the inside in the left-hander, and he just shoulder tackles Christopher Bell out of the way. He will try and stuff it back up the inside into the right-hander because he did not like that at all. Over the curb goes Bell. Kyle Busch is sat behind there going, just get out of the way or do something, please. Leave me alone. Larson keeps the spot for now. Bell will try and wrestle that back. And in fact, he cuts back to the inside through 19 and heading towards the final corner. The high ground goes to the 20 car, Christopher Bell. Larson late on the brakes to try and defend it, but Bell goes through. And he will now try and run Larson to the outside. What's going to happen next at the top of turn 1?
5 bits of contact between those two drivers on that lap, and there was contact in back-to-back corners, 19 and 20. Let's make it 3 straight, huh? Here goes Larson, driving it into turn 1 to the inside of Christopher Bell. Is he going to push him wide? You bet he will. And now Kyle Busch will try to take advantage, and he does. Down the hill, Larson repasses Bell. Busch does too. Let's go to Regan on pit road.
Said yesterday felt like a little bit of a momentum killer for him because they struggled so badly, but it is one of Kyle's best tracks with RCR. Very solid right now. Lacked rear grip earlier as we see a dive bomb by Austin Cindric there. Lacked rear grip earlier, but it's pretty good right now.
Cindric with a dive bomb on Bell at 6A. Couldn't get around him. Bell's been beaten up for about the last 4 miles or so of this race. By the way, that pass that Zilich made on Chastain, that's up to 7th, so now that's Connor Zilich, up 15 positions since the restart. We just had some communication from the Ross Chastain radio, and it was to tell Ross that the 88 is the best car on the track right now. I guess he is.
Austin Cindric trying to get that move done on Christopher Bell, and it was
Can you
trying to
hear me?
go
I've
up
gone
1
down
and actually ended up losing 2 because Preece and his RFK teammate Chris Buescher got around him.
Well,
he won't because he's not in the call, and we've lost pictures.
Okay, yep, we have lost pictures. Tyler Reddick continues to lead from Ryan Blaney. Across the line they come, 34 laps to go in this race, which has seen 10 lead changes among 7 different drivers. 37 cars started the race, Matt. This is a typical NASCAR road course race. 37 cars started, 37 are still on the lead lap. Any kind of mistake you make, you will dearly, dearly pay for it.
Yeah, indeed so. I mean, as we've been talking about, getting towards the sort of crunch time of this race now that we've got through the end of stage 2. We're back with the leaders. We've got pictures coming back to us. Apologies for that, as they are heading towards turn 12, and it hasn't changed. It is still Tyler Reddick from Ryan Blaney. Chase Briscoe just about hanging on in 3rd place.
And Shane Van Gisbergen, since passing William Byron, he's gapped him a little bit, 3 or 4 car lengths.
I'm sorry if you lost anything. We're back now. I lost everything on the map book.
You're good. All good to go with under 34 laps to go. So the question that we are building up to at the current moment, Matt, when will the pit stops be made, and will those pit stops be the last pit stops of the day?
Well, I kind of thought we might start seeing some already, to be honest, because if we go another 4 laps, that's going to take us to 30 in regulation to go. Add that caveat in. And then it's pretty much about the same length of the stages that we've run. So it's going to be interesting here if anyone decides they want to come a little early and then risk it coming in again. So we might end up actually, contrary to all of the sort of popular belief and what we thought, this might still be a one-stop stage.
Fuel window given to us anywhere between 24 and 27 laps. Christopher Bell is on pit road now. Probably good. Josh Sims has the coverage.
Long, he's going to get those tires and fuel on his final stop.
Okay, well now he just said final stop, but I just said, Matt, fuel window 24 to 27 laps. I look up at the scoring pylon. There's 33 to go.
Yeah. So, to my point before, it's going to have to happen soon if it's going to happen at all. Van Gisbergen's got around Briscoe in the back of the shot. Not sure if you mentioned that, but SVG is past Briscoe and
I think Chase made
Briscoe.
a mistake.
Where is he? Here he is. He's behind Larson.
Yeah, he's fallen to 7th. Briscoe's made a mistake somewhere.
Only the left rear tire spinning.
Oh!
Oh, no.
He's got a drive shaft broken.
Left rear tire is down or something. He said it stopped spinning.
No, I think he's only got one wheel drive at the back of that 19. I reckon he's broken a drive shaft.
Ugh.
Or a diff problem or some description as Austin Cindric gets by. And Chase Briscoe is slow on the racetrack. He'll have enough steam to get it back to pit road, as the leaders do not take the pit road this time.
Yeah, it's not flat.
But it's not flat. He's got air in it. There, I reckon that's a broken drive shaft for the 19.
Wow, third place runner who we just talked about, if he got a short run to the finish, could have won this race. Finished second at Atlanta last week after being one of the first drivers out of the Daytona 500. That second place finish got him all the way up to 15th in the championship standings. Now heading towards another rough finish. Let's go to pit road. Nope, this is Ty Gibbs on pit road. I beg your pardon. Thought we were still following Briscoe there. Ty Gibbs, Stage 2 winner to pit road with 32 laps to go. Oh, and many cars on pit road. My goodness. Carson Hotzemar, Daniel Flores on pit road. Zane Smith, one of our ones to watch, trying to hold serve, 5th in the championship standings coming in. And Chase Briscoe has just gone behind the wall. So, Matt, for Briscoe, it's the ups and downs of a NASCAR season, but it's the ups and downs that were more forgiving in the old system, not so much in this one. 36th at Daytona, 2nd at Atlanta. He's the only car behind the wall. If he doesn't get back out, he'll be 37th today.
That's the yo-yo effect to this early portion of the season, but he will take some solace that he had a really good car under him and was driving really, really well. And as we documented earlier on, he spent a lot of off-season time trying to get his road course technique better and all that kind of thing. So seemed like it was paying dividends, but the technology of such has let him down in this instance, and it is going to be a probably last place finish for Chase Briscoe.
Meanwhile, TC Music 2025 in the comments section. Glad to have you with us. He says, driving home to North Carolina from St. Pete. Thanks for the stream, guys. Because my Fox doesn't work on Spectrum Stream when out of my local areas. Kyle Busch and Chris Buescher hit pit road. That's Busch and Buescher, along with Joey Logano. Would love to know, if you're willing to share, you certainly don't have to, but if you're willing to share, what part of North Carolina are you heading back to? I'm in the Winston-Salem area of North Carolina, but glad to have you here with us driving home from St. Pete, and hope you enjoyed a good weekend with all the on-track action that happened there. Emmanuel Cadet 3120 says, I need a 3-day inspection on that 45 car. Good against the wind at drafting tracks, now beating everyone on a road course.
Yeah, as we talked about earlier on, this is one of his best tracks.
Remember, he won the drafting track race last week without a fender covering the right front tire.
Yeah. If they keep going like this, there is going to be some fingers pointed, aren't there? Let's just say that. If they keep going over the next couple of weeks. This is your mention from about 10 minutes ago. We ride on board with Riley Herbst for reasons. He's in 17th position.
And James Small has not happy at his driver. Briscoe wasn't sure where to turn into the garage. James Small's response was, maybe you should read the bleeping map. It's very Australian of him.
Yeah. Nope. Yeah, that's disappointment for that whole 19 group. And as you say, Daytona did not go their way. Good last week. Was really good here until that has let them down. So leaders have just crossed the stripe. 30 laps on the ticker here to get to a result at Circuit of the Americas.
Oh, very good. Here we go. Kyle Larson on pit road, the blue and white number 5. He pits with 30 laps to go, and we will go to pit road.
Now, the main thing to look for on this stop is they go over the wall. Watch at the driver's side door. They are going to hand him ice packs, water bottles, as well as energy gummies. He's asking for as much help as he can get in that car. Keep in mind, that cool suit has not been working for him.
Jesse Love.
Yeah, cool suit not working for Larson, and that might have been why he got really aggravated with Bell a few laps ago. By the way, TC Music 2025, he did respond Mooresville's where he's driving into, so that's the heart of NASCAR country right there. He said he worked on a NASCAR team from 2018 to 2022, work on a 410 sprint team part-time now. Very good. Tremendous to have you with us here. The Mind of Kip says, I lived in Cherry Point, North Carolina as a Marine for years, also lived in High Point and Greensboro. Now you're talking my region. They were NASCAR crazy back in the 80s and 90s, and believe me, they still are. Despite what people want to tell you about, there's too much set. The High Point, North Carolina mentioned.
What's the bingo card off?
Yes, despite what people want to tell you on a certain Sirius XM channel that there's too many races in the Southeast. There's oversaturation of the market. Could that be because that's where the majority of your fans are? Stunning revelation.
Hello,
Bob
Pete.
in the comment says, yes, hi to you, Pete. Bob says, Briscoe possible transaxle.
Yeah, transaxle or diff, depending on where you are in the world, or drive shaft failure. So we'll cover that off when we get some proper news from downstairs. Hopefully, one of the crew from Fox will get a word with Chase Briscoe when he's out of the car. Leaders coming through the snaking twists and turns of the S's. Connor Zilic, by the way, up to 5th while all of this has been going on.
Yeah, jumped some cars that came to pit road. Zilic to 5th, Ty Dillon to 8th. You want to talk about Jordan Bianchi? Don't let Ty Dillon be the highest finishing colleague car over Allmendinger on this race. My
Also,
God.
ladies and gentlemen, if you're watching as well as listening, look at the top 10 in your running order.
Yes.
Plenty of bow ties at the front of this field at the moment.
Oh my goodness, absolutely. Well, there's only 2 that aren't, and they're the Fords.
We've had a few people out of the top 10 stop.
And Briscoe, the highest running Toyota, now behind the wall. Now the highest running Toyota suddenly becomes Denny Hamlin in 11th, who, hasn't been worth a plum nickel on these road courses in the next gen era. Last road course win for Hamlin. Yes. Last road course win for Hamlin nearly 10 years ago, Watkins Glen 2016. That was the famous aggressive goes around Grand Prix at Watkins Glen that Hamlin ended up winning. And by the way, for all of the North Carolinians, my North Carolina brethren in the comments section, Matt just said wherever you are in the world, as you can possibly tell, there's nobody here else on this broadcast that is from North Carolina. Let's go to pit road.
Tight is he? Or on the flip side, but today he has had his work cut out for him. Started 25th. You guys mentioned his issues earlier, going around, flat spotting the tires, having to drive through the pack again. But his car is good, and this kid is focused, not saying anything on the radio.
That was a report about Connor Zilic currently running in the 5th position. And of course, if you are joining us on JBM, which a lot of you are, you can also search up on YouTube Ultimate Sports Media. We are simulcasting on that channel as well, trying to build up that channel, which, we've done twice. I'm not salty or anything, not me. But yes, you can search us up there, and that gives you all kinds of sports. JBM, of course, all kinds of motorsports, and I do mean all kinds. The Slim Jim Karting Championships to be confirmed if it'll be on JBM this year or not. Anyway, Connor Zilic, talking about him just chewing up the gap and passing cars left, right, and center, Matt. He has clawed his way to 5th and now to the back bumper of William Byron.
My exhale just before there was him sideways coming through 6B. Oh, I thought Fox were going to go to a replay of that there as I was talking about it, but
Speaking of more
just to confirm to you both as well, competitive tiddlywinks is coming to JB Motorsports next week.
That's
Will
not
you
a
be
motor...
also covering the world? You need to be covering the World Conquer Championships as well, Josh.
Oh, that could be true, because then I could say this is ball-breakingly good.
And of course, on Ultimate Sports Media, we'll have college basketball a lot this month as March Madness kicks off. The World Cup is coming up. It will be won by the United States of America. Interestingly enough, Iran might not compete in it anymore.
Well, no, indeed so. That's that.
Yeah.
They were going to win that by decree, obviously.
Yeah. You said it, not me. Tyler Reddick has started to leg it out a little bit, hasn't he, Matt? That lead on Ryan Blaney this whole run has been anywhere between 2 and 4 car lengths. Now it's about 7.
Yeah, 1.5 seconds. in old money. Van Gisbergen in third, about 4.5 back from the leader, on a little bit of an island on his own. Now that he's got around William Byron and did so a few laps ago, of course, and then had Briscoe fall out of the way in front of him when he had his issue a couple of laps ago. So Reddick and Blaney won't be too far away from these guys who have managed to hang on here towards getting to what would be for them, unlike when we heard from Josh Sims about Christopher Bell, will be definitely for them their final pit stop of the day.
If they can make it about 4 more laps, Matt, then they are putting themselves in a position where it's just about what they ran in stage 1 and 2.
Exactly right. So, which were 25 lap stages, less the laps that were logged under the formation laps and all that kind of thing. So, and of course the laps in between, and we scrap everything we've just said, because here come the first two to pit lane. Second time
Reddick
that's happened.
to pit road themselves. Van Gisbergen stays out. Let's go to Jamie Little.
Making an air pressure adjustment. That was done a few minutes ago. A 4-tire stop. That is it. Regan.
As soon as we aired the radio of Brian Blaney's team telling him to hit pit road, the 45 team and Billy Scott, crew chief Billy Scott, got on the radio immediately and said, pit, pit, pit. Originally, they were going to go another lap or two, but they wanted to offset what the 12 car did. As far as the car, he has been silent all day long. Tyler Happy.
Van Gisbergen stayed out, so he's going to try and overcut. Who wins the race off pit road between Reddick and Blaney? It's going to be very close, Matt. It's going to be wheel to wheel. It's going to be Reddick by the nose of his Camry.
Just ahead Reddick as they head up the hill, and they will be swooped round by Denny Howland, who's on a different strategy. So Van Gisbergen's going to lead the race for the first time today on lap 70. Can you believe that? But this battle will rage on. They've gone out ahead of Christopher Bell and Kyle Larson, who, of course, pitted a few laps ago. There were plenty in front of them on the racetrack before that. So that battle will continue. Let's go downstairs.
12 laps, they pitted lap 62, possibly will be coming again about lap 74, 75. I think they're doing something totally different.
Reddick cannot be held up by Denny Hamlin, and he's not at all. He stuffs it past Hamlin in 6B, and Blaney does the same. Blaney needs to stay in contact with Reddick. He really needs to pass Reddick as quickly as he can, if he can. Van Gisbergen leads from Zilich, 5 seconds. There's the moment everyone's been waiting for, to see cars 97 and 88 for Trackhouse Racing, first and second on the scoring pylon. Van Gisbergen from Zilich, from Byron, then Michael McDowell, Ross Chastain, now Van Gisbergen into pit road. He's gone 1 lap longer. Will that be a determining factor in him winning his 6th consecutive road course race? Let's go to pit road.
The far end of pit road right now. On the radio, it's been struggles with the rear lateral grip all day long. In particular, this last run, though, said I just don't have as much as I need, especially early on in the runs.
So what's going to happen here, Matt? Reddick and Blaney have had that 1 lap on fresher tires than SVG. So they will likely extend the lead that they had on him, but then SVG will have that 1 lap fresher tires on the south end of this run. Christopher Bell, who pitted way before any of those guys, he's jumped Larson, he's jumped Van Gisbergen, and he's in line right behind Reddick and Blaney. The lead now goes over to William Byron because Zilich pitted that lap as well. It's Byron and McDowell first and second, 25 laps to go.
The only thing I would say about SVG, and we'll have to wait to see how this plays out, he perhaps used a bit more of his tyre in the early laps of the stage when he was in battles with Byron and whatever else, McDowell and whatnot, in those early laps to keep his track position. He doesn't perhaps have to worry about that so much now as he gets back out on the racetrack, just in front of Kyle Larson, who, again, is struggling in that car with a failed cool suit, but is handily placed here. Meanwhile, change of lead. McDowell ahead of Byron.
McDowell in that black and lime green 71 goes to the lead. 2 career wins for McDowell. 1 did come on a road course, the Indianapolis road course just a couple of years ago. William Byron with a couple of road course wins on his resume. He's won at Watkins Glen and he's won here at COTA. And right now he's going to be on the COTA pit lane as he shoots across the track out of turn 19 from right to left. William Byron hits pit road, car 24, followed by the number 1 of Ross Chastain. Those 2 pit coming at 24 to go.
Chastain made a huge amount of space there on the pit entry because he was nowhere near Byron as they came through turn 19, and then appears behind him as though if those 2 come to a stop. Here come the would-be leaders, Reddick and Blaney, up the hill.
Alex Bowman, by the way, apparently not feeling well. He's told his team he doesn't know if he can make it to the end.
He's got Apollo 13 going on there in the 48 car. He's not going to make it back. Meanwhile, McDowell leading by about 16 seconds. He's the leader, but not really, because he still owes us a pit stop now that Byron was second and got in. So it's going to be Reddick, Blaney, Bell, Van Gisbergen last in the top 5 once this cycles through.
And now listen, this is an off strategy from the 71 team. Remember how close they were to winning the Daytona 500 on a terribly off strategy just a couple of weeks ago when they made it 68 laps to the finish without a fuel stop, nearly snookered the 500 away from everybody. See if he can do it here. He's gone nearly 30 laps on this fuel run and set of tires, which is pretty impressive. That has to be the longest run of the weekend. No one ran that many laps in practice, of course, so that is the longest run of the weekend without stopping. But his last lap, Matt, was 3 seconds slower than Reddick and Blaney, who lapped in the 140s. McDowell was a 143.3.
Ryan Blaney's got to be sick of looking at the back of that 45 by now as they head towards the final corner. McDowell stays out again to continue that run.
He will not be downloading the Chumba Casino app.
No, he will not. Other betting apps are available. So Blaney, yeah, he'll be eager, I'm sure, in the next couple of laps to try and find a way past Reddick, especially if the guys behind start to mow them down here in this stage.
Nathan Troxel in the comments says, this is a strategy race. I'm here for it. Isn't it interesting how 2 weeks ago at Daytona was a big strategy race and everyone hated it? Now this is a big strategy race just in a different way, and everyone's going to love it.
Do you love a good strategy race? And most of them are for 38 weeks of the year. Let's be fair. There's 30 plus of them probably are strategy races in one way, shape, or form. We've seen plenty of strategy to do with stage points today. Now we're going to get to see the strategy play out for the victory.
Purple Rain 84, that's REIGN, Purple Rain 84, says go SVG. Nathan says this is risky from McDowell. It is risky from McDowell, but they're not going to win the race any other way, and they're here to win the race. Even though, no playoff spot for winning. But this is a team that wants to win the race, Matt. I don't think they're worried about making the chase as of now. Now, if they get to race 18 or 20 of the year and they're 18th in points, maybe they can worry about making the chase. But so early in the season, I don't think that's a team that's worried about points or anything. They want to win.
You say it's risky for McDowell, but if he continues to run on here and the caution does come out before he comes to the pit stop, everybody else will come.
Right. Exactly right. JT, if you're listening, say that in my ear one more time. So Alex Bowman has gone behind the wall, interestingly, to make a driver change. He must be feeling very badly indeed. So Bowman is going to exit that race car with 22 laps to go. Anthony Alfredo will jump in. So Bowman no longer in that 48, and I mean, at this rate, well, I was going to say, is it worth it? But yeah, I get it is, because if we were to get carnage at the end and we get guys fall out of the race, that would be extra points. Bowman would get the points for the finish because he started the race. So Alfredo will come out probably 1, 2, 3 laps down and maybe pick up some spots in late race carnage.
Last year, you're probably right. It wouldn't have been worth it.
Right.
It's all about points this year.
Retraining the brain.
Out of the finish.
Yep. Got to retrain the brain every way possible to just recalibrate to the new point system. So they'll put Anthony Alfredo, the Connecticut driver, in that 48 car, and he'll make the rest of the laps. And again, if we were to get guys fall out of the race late, he could pick up some spots and extra points for Bowman. At the front, still Michael McDowell. And as I said, lapping 3 seconds slower than Reddick, Blaney, Bell, and Van Gisbergen, Matt. Last time he crossed the line, his lead on Reddick was nearly 10 seconds as Daniel Suarez jump scares the bumper cover of A.J. Allmendinger. We'll see what it is this time. It's 6,
Oh,
and Ross
Chastain.
lost the right rear tire. This might be the caution that Michael McDowell needs. The right rear tire has come off of Ross Chastain. He's ended up in the gravel pit somewhere. He's driven out of it into the grass.
Last corner.
Caution is out. It was risky for McDowell, but the risk has paid off. This caution changes everything and puts Michael McDowell into a position where he can win this race.
Ross Chastain has got it back to pit road. That was in turn 19. There's the wheel. The wheel! And it is come to rest in the gravel pit down at 19.
Caution for incident for the first time in this race comes with 21 laps to go. That was very deep into the run, Matt, for that right rear tire to come off.
Yeah, we haven't seen Chastain. He came in with Byron, didn't he? I seem to remember. Because I commented on how quickly he pulled him in the pit entry sort of area.
Let's go to Larry.
Under 20 laps to go, but you're right, middle of the field on back. They're going to come get 4 fresh tires. This is not what McDowell wanted.
First caution.
Really?
I disagree with Larry there.
And I love Larry Mack, and he's the best in the business. I disagree. He's going to be on fresh tires. And like he said, he could come out 8. Let's go to Jamie, because that's not Anthony Alfredo.
Right there, Myatt Snyder is my pit spotter. He's been helping me today. Chad Knaus came up to him and me and said, is it okay if Myatt gets in this race car? And I said, absolutely. So here we are. So Alex is out of the car. Myatt now, he races in the O'Reilly series. He's going to get in Alex Bowman's car and try to salvage some points. Strange turn of events here.
So I guess they couldn't. My guess is going to be they couldn't locate Alfredo because, we never had any kind of report earlier that this was possible. So Alfredo was not like Joey Hand earlier where it could happen.
Yeah.
So I'm assuming they probably just couldn't find Alfredo in time. Myatt Snyder's been on pit road helping Jamie.
I hope that Anthony Alfredo was in his house and he had a phone call saying, "Where are you?" "Oh, no, I'm at home."
It's like when Nico Hulkenberg got that call up to replace Lance Stroll at the Eiffel Grand Prix, and he was in Monaco eating eating a croissant or something like that.
Something like that. He drove directly from Monaco to the Nürburgring.
Well, this is unusual. I've never seen this. We saw Kyle Busch try to get. No, I'll correct myself there. We saw Kyle Larson rushing back a couple of years ago after that delayed Indy 500 race. He got his helmet on, he was ready to get in the car, and then NASCAR stopped the race.
So let's regather ourselves while we're under this caution here, Matt, because I have seen some comments, and you're absolutely right. It is important to pit before the caution on road courses. You're absolutely right on that, but the situation here is McDowell has gone 13 laps longer than Christopher Bell, 7 laps longer than guys like Reddick and Blaney and Van Gisbergen. So he's going to have, thank you, JT, he's going to have a huge tire advantage on these guys, Matt. And like Larry just said, if everyone from 10th on back pits with him, McDowell can restart on fresh tires at or around the top 10. I see this being the better of the two options that could have happened to the 71.
There's a high chance that some of the people that pitted not so long ago are going to come back here as well.
Because had it just stayed green to the end and he pitted with 17 to go, he had spent so many laps on his old tires he would have come back 20th, and everybody would have been strung out. Now he might restart 20th, but he'll have everyone in front of him and on fresher tires. So I mean. Of the two options that could have happened, this is the better one, I think.
Again, I still believe there's going to be some extra people come to the pit lane here that we didn't expect to come. Take some tyres.
And also worth mentioning, more than likely...
Here we go, let's see.
More than likely, this will not be the last restart. Oh, look at this now.
Like Blaney, for instance. Here he comes from second, he fakes it.
Yep. Blaney faked it, but Bell is in. Larson, Gibbs. Oh, my goodness, a bunch of people following McDowell in. Best case scenario for the 71. go to pit road. Josh Sims.
Stage number 3. Told the team the longevity of this car was much better on that last run, but said he's still tight in the right turns, loose in the left turns as he stops for that final stop.
Austin Dillon was blocked getting into his pit. Brad Keselowski overshot his pit. A lot of drama here in the pit lane.
McDowell's going to win the race off of pit road from Bell, Gibbs, Larson, Busch, Buscher, Keselowski, Allmendinger, and that's all my eyes could see from 500 feet away on the camera. And the lead will be turned back over to Tyler Reddick. Oh my God. Matt, could we have set this up any better ourselves? This restart will be Reddick, Blaney, Van Gisbergen, and Zilich on the first 2 rows.
All with older tyres and the guys coming from behind them.
And where will McDowell cycle out at is the question. How many stayed out? We will wait for timing and scoring to recycle and tell us where McDowell is.
Long stop here for the 6. Brad Keselowski still sat in his box.
Nathan makes a good point. We had a tire come off in the IndyCar race and now the Cup race. Yes, Scott Dixon lost the right rear, I believe it was, and Ross Chastain just lost the right rear.
That was quite funny for when Dixon lost it as well, because it was just after the pit stop and it just sort of ran past itself. So the nut came off, and then all of a sudden, Dixon, as I said in commentary, it's always alarming when your own wheel overtakes you.
Indeed.
I've got Michael McDowell running in 12th, but I don't think timing and scoring has fully reset itself yet, as you say.
No, they got to the end of the pit lane before the end of the queue of cars on the racetrack, so that would have had to have been adjusted.
But again, if it's in the teens, that's good.
Yeah.
So 9th up have pitted, correct?
I think it's more than. Well, now everybody's good on stop. Nobody has to stop again, if that's what you're asking.
They're good. Yeah, they're all good. It's just I'm worried about. We know tire degradation plays a massive factor here, and especially because this track is built mainly on like swampland. So you see it a lot in MotoGP, where there's bumps in certain sections of the circuit, and it just throws the car around at weird angles, and it throws the bikes around as well. Formula One's had issues here, MotoGP, NASCAR's had issues, World Endurance Championship, so much so that they have repaved certain areas of the circuit. But this is an ever-growing marshland underneath the track, so it's never going to be 100% billiard smooth anymore. So for a NASCAR to hit that, you're going to be jumped up in the air, you're going to be putting spots on some of the tyres in different areas. It's not the best situation, and if you've got slightly older tyres lugging it through, as we see here, the 16, 17, 18 chicane, that's a long time turning to the right before you've got to flick it left for the last 2 corners, and that is never, ever going to be a good thing.
And to add to your laundry list of people losing wheels this weekend, Marc Marquez didn't quite lose his wheel, but he damaged the wheel in the Grand Prix this morning in Buriram and had to retire with a broken rim.
Now,
in all my years commentating on MotoGP, I've never seen that before.
Timing and scoring on... Yes, timing and scoring is recycled. Michael McDowell, 15th. I think that's a great position for him on fresh tires. Much fresher than everyone else's. By the way, as you continue to look at timing and scoring on your screen, ones to watch, Matt. Zane Smith, 6th.
Yeah.
Only 3 drivers. Yeah, only 3 drivers have finished top 10 in each of the first 2 races of the year. Of course, Reddick's won them both. The other 2, Darrell Wallace Jr. and Zane Smith. Smith running 6th, Wallace down in 24th. He told us last week to pray for him. You're seeing why.
He'll come back to life next week at Phoenix. Will Darrell Wallace Jr., which is the next trip for the NASCAR Cup Series, as we've been saying all day. And if you haven't heard that, we'll be on again next weekend between all of us in various forms for IndyCar Saturday afternoon and then the O'Reilly race. at Phoenix, and then the Cup race on Sunday as well.
I'm just trying to have a look to see what the data was. Yeah. Reddick's gone low. That's going to be critical. He can control that inside line to turn 1. Let's face it. We were all thinking, oh, SVG is going to get up there, but it's going to be Tyler Reddick, isn't it? He's going to do the first 3 in a row.
No driver has ever won the first 3 races of the season. The last driver that had a chance to do it was Matt Kenseth in 2009. He won the first 2 races at Daytona and Fontana, and then in the 3rd race of the year at Las Vegas, he blew an engine on lap 6, and after winning the first 2 races of the year, he finished last in race 3. Before that, in 1997, Jeff Gordon won the first 2 races. He finished 4th in the 3rd race at Richmond. That's the closest anyone has come to winning race 3 of the season after winning the first 2, was Gordon in 97.
You don't need to look it up because we just did.
Just before they come into it, some NASCAR fans have gone around who also attend the Formula 1 Grand Prix here as well, and they've put on Twitter, at DA Other Ship has put, oh, hell no, they circumcised Kota when they show the track map, so that's quite funny. Anyway, here we go, boys, over to you.
Toyota Camry pace car peels off. This is the first caution for cause of the race. It might create a cacophony of cautions from here to the finish, you never know. Reddick, Blaney, Van Gisbergen, Zilich. The 4 best cars here for most of the day start 1st, 2nd, 3rd, and 4th. Green flag up in the air. Reddick and Blaney stride for stride with each other, door to door, nose to nose, up this front straightaway into turn 1. Shane Van Gisbergen goes defensive into the corner. He gets rubbed a bit by a car to his right and now getting turned around on a restart again. It's Connor Zilich. This time, it's him and Shane Smith that go spinning. Cars scatter left and right to get by. Through the S's, Shane Van Gisbergen loads it up around the outside of Ryan Blaney and makes the pass for 2nd. Van Gisbergen to 2nd, now looks at the back bumper of Tyler Reddick.
Great move from SVG down the hill. And he gets around Blaney around the outside of turn number 2. So this is the highest. Well, yeah, he led a lap earlier, but that was in the pit cycle. This is the highest he's led all day, kicking up the dust as they come out of 6B. Riley Herb's in the back, a shot trying to make some moves against Chase Elliott, who's not been in the top 10 all day either.
Meanwhile, Michael McDowell on fresh tires. He's picked up a couple of places already. He's right behind the legacy cars. John Hunter Nemechek and Eric Jones will keep an eye on the 71. Up front, it is Reddick from Van Gisbergen, from Blaney. That's the top 3. Then William Byron 4. Denny Hamlin, the highest up. We've seen him all day long in 5th. But it's Tyler Reddick trying to make history. Shane Van Gisbergen trying to make history. On 2 different fronts, these historic drivers trying to make historic feats. And Zane Smith is coming back with a right front tire down. He's riding it on the rim. It won't be 3 straight top 10s for him. Will it be 3 straight wins for Tyler Reddick, Matt? We've gotten all jazzed up and excited because it is exciting times. But a reminder as they come to the line, 16 laps to go. A lot of racing still left.
And Reddick put a huge gap into SVG coming out of the final corner there. And there is your Michael Jordan spot for the day. He is here. We mentioned it earlier on. Will he be here this weekend? Well, he was here yesterday. And he's here again today, watching his man again leading the race and seeing if he can complete that historic run. A little bit further back in the top 10, Christopher Bell, Denny Hamlin and Chase Elliott having a bit of a squabble there coming down towards turn 2. Front 4 have got themselves strung out a little bit here. Reddick from SVG, from Blaney, from Byron. Small gap back to Hamlin.
Herbst breaking into the top 10 on this restart as Chase Elliott gives a shove to Christopher Bell in 6A, stays in behind. Connor Zilich dropped back to 31st. We told you would pay a major penalty if you have an off late in this race with all these cars still in the lead lap. Zilich 31st, Zane Smith 34th, and on pit road to change that right front tire that was down. Michael McDowell makes a pass going into turn number 12. Couldn't tell who it was that he got by, but he got by somebody to make up a place on his fresh tires. Up front, Reddick from Van Gisbergen trying to kick away from Blaney a bit, but Blaney sticking strong to the bumper cover of the 97.
McDowell all over the back now. Yeah, the 2 black and green cars together, and McDowell right up underneath the spoiler of young Riley Herbst here coming through 18.
And now
As
the
we go to a
restart,
replay of
Matt,
the
we're getting
restart.
a replay of it as we'll follow McDowell passing Herbst. Well, Zilich just got blindsided because Zane Smith got bowled into from 2 cars to his left.
Yeah. Typical COTA restart turn 1 kind of accident, wasn't it really? Oh, was it Hamlin that got into the back of
Hamlin into Byron.
Byron, who then in turn hit Zane Smith into the back of Zilich? So there was mentions about go bowling yesterday in the Grand National race. It's happened again. Strike out Denny Hamlin.
So Zilich, twice today, has been bulldozed out of the way in turn 1 on a restart. We stay green through all of that. 15 laps to go. Tyler Reddick and Austin Cindric on pit road. Cindric with a problem in the 2. Hits pit road.
Just want to quickly ask something as well. We've seen SVG running in this race, and he's got a wheel on the grass exit of turn 6B, but I have not seen anything of SVG today that tells me that he has got a competitive car underneath him. He's in second place right now on strategy. He's not there on race. Tyler Reddick has been there on race pace. He's been there on tyre data, strategy, everything. Reddick is the best bet here, and you can see he's already pulling away by 9/10 of a second, and I've got a feeling SVG might start to fall back.
Well, Matt, he hasn't shown anything this weekend that he has anything for the 45 car, but if he can stay in his rearview mirrors over these next 14 laps, he can get a mistake out of him. Yes? Let's go to Larry first.
25. Average of the last caution, actually 13 laps to go, which would be about 2 laps from now. But with that said, we've had late race cautions because in those 4 races, 2 overtime finishes.
Back to our previous conversation, Matt. Shane is not better than Reddick or Blaney today, but he's on par with them, I think, and he can force a mistake out of them.
Yeah, at the moment he's doing defending work against Blaney coming from behind as he tried to get up the inside there at turn 1. Reddick's actually scampered away to about a second here. So I think if this stays green, and that's a big if, this is all going to be about tyre conservation between these 3 or 4 at the front here. McDowell on his fresh tyres is only 5 seconds away, and he's in this little group here. He's stuck behind Hamlin. He's just about to make a move on Denny, by the looks of things, down the inside to turn 6 as it cut out of frame.
Yeah, McDowell in 9th, trying to take 8th. As RFK cars get close together at 6A, Buescher and Preece will go side by side in a battle that we really just don't need to be seeing right now. I'm sorry to RFK and to Ryan Preece and Chris Buescher fans, but this is not the battle we should be watching as close as it is, along with Cole Custer, Joey Logano, Jesse Love, and Kyle Busch. We've mentioned Jesse Love 5 times more than I thought we would today because we've mentioned him 6 times. But he is falling through traffic here as Kyle Busch gets alongside. Those 2 are teammates for the day, of course, Love and Busch. Love, the reigning Grand National Series champion. Kyle Busch, who has been up towards the front as much as we thought would be. So meanwhile, a penalty on Eric Jones in the 43. He came to pit road, had too many pit crew members over the wall. We have now been stuck on the battle for 2011th for far longer than we need to be. I'm trying to talk through it so I can tee up Matt for something, but they continue this battle. Kyle Busch gets into
there you go.
And Love spins Buescher. That's Busch into the back of his teammate for the day, Love. It spits out Buescher. We stay green as Buescher gets back going.
17 Love.
Brewing.
Well, that's
33 Love rather than yeah, you could feel and see that was going to happen at some point between one of those guys in that group, and it's Chris Buescher that gets the raw end of the deal.
Finished on the lead lap in the last 40 road course races, still on the Kyle Busch radio.
Oh.
And meanwhile, Todd Gilliland gets shoved into the tire barrier at 6A. He gets passed by 4 cars. Preece went by him. Custer and Logano went by him. Busch is still there. Here comes the official olive oil Ford of Keselowski.
Busch on the inside of Cole Custer. Joey Logano pretending he's on a super speedway and trying to block both the lanes here. He's done his best job of it so far as they come through the right-hander in the middle of the stadium. Not missing anything at the front, although Van Gisbergen has closed Reddick down slightly. while we've been watching this madness going on back here, the Grand Prix of 33rd place on back.
My God, you are right. This looks like a super speedway just happening on a road course. 2 and 3 wide and bumping and boring. And my goodness, what madness. We don't need a full screen commercial of it all, though, do we?
This is a replay.
Priorities. Priorities, please. On what matters with 13 laps to go. Now 12.
Why is it always Kyle Busch getting right late on the brakes of people in these road courses? That's about the 6th time I've seen him do it in the last 2 seasons.
Finally, here are the leaders. And as Matt mentioned, Van Gisbergen has gotten the rod and reel out and started to pull Reddick in just a little bit. He started to leave Blaney and pull in Reddick. Through the S as they go. Again, history on the line for both of these two. Reddick trying to become the first driver to win the first 3 races of a season. Shane Van Gisbergen trying to become the first to win 6 straight road course races since Jeff Gordon, who went on that run from 1997 to 2000. And Van Gisbergen is there in turn 12. And Matt, as I was talking about earlier, on these road courses, the last person you want to see filling up your rearview mirror is the driver of that 97, and that could get in Reddick's head and lead to a mistake.
That's
right.
Here he comes.
Yep. He is looking for his 7th career NASCAR Cup Series win. The previous 6 have all been on road courses, 5 of them last year. Right on the tail of Tyler Reddick, Ryan Blaney sitting in 3rd, just watching that battle every step of the way. Byron 4th, Bell 5th, Ty Gibbs has climbed up to 6th. Michael McDowell on his fresh tires has just passed Kyle Larson, and so that puts McDowell up into 7th.
Not making the progress that we thought he would make.
No, and Christopher Bell, by the way, has jumped Byron. That was my mistake. That's Bell up into 4th, and actually closing in on Blaney, Matt. It looks like that 12 car might be fading away at the wrong time.
Down the hill they come towards turn 2. Yeah, and you're right. Bell is making some good progress here, and he is up behind Blaney as they come through the very fast right-hander of turn 2 and back towards the S, or S's. Van Gisbergen right now on the back of Reddick. Perhaps he was saving his tyres all along here, and now he's going to start to blow the blowtorch on the back of the Chumpa Casino 45.
Well, just want to point.
Bell. Yeah, go ahead.
I was just going to say a stat I told Matt White the other day, actually, and I was supposed to tell you, Oracle. Remember, Shane Van Gisbergen is the only driver to have led laps in every single race this season. Now, you might be thinking, yeah, but Tyler Reddick's won the opening 2. Oh, no. You've got to remember, SVG led at Bowman Gray and led the Jules at Daytona. In every race so far this season, SVG has led laps.
And he has led a lap today during a pit stop cycle.
Awesome.
Bell punches his way past Blaney at 12, so that puts Bell up a spot. That was actually at 15, my mistake. Bell up to 3rd. And depending on how it gets between Reddick and Van Gisbergen at the end, Matt, you might want to be 3rd.
Yeah, maybe. Blaney will be not pleased with that move, you can be sure. Carson Hocevar was also on that, led every lap in every single race, apart from today. He has not got anywhere near the front, which perhaps might have been a blessing. Over the line we come. 10 laps to go now as the leaders hit the line. Tyler Reddick still leading, but only just.
Van Gisbergen stays within striking distance. They take 2 different lines into one. Reddick a bit defensive. Van Gisbergen on the offensive. Downhill they plunge towards turn 2 and into the S's. And Van Gisbergen chews up the gap through turn 2. Tyler Reddick's going to have to drive a masterful final 10 laps here if he's going to stiff arm the road course master away. Van Gisbergen right behind him heading to 6. Will he try to outbrake him here? No. He'll follow Reddick in his tire track. Now the quick jaunt from 6A to 6B. Can Tyler Reddick channel his inner Michael Jordan, Matt, and come up clutch in the final 9.5 laps?
Just trying to think back through Van Gisbergen's road course victories. Most of them have been runaways, all controlling from the front. He hasn't had to do this in the late laps of any of them. Challenge somebody and take the victory away from somebody else. As Bell is not out of the picture, he's not that far behind. And as you say, if these two get into a bit more fisticuffs here in the late laps, we could see some of those guys in that second group get into it.
McDowell is not too far away either. He's still on the back of that group, just behind Ty Gibbs.
Gibbs in 6th. After flipping the stage, he's done well to claw his way back up, and he's in line for a much-needed good finish here. Tyler Reddick, Shane Van Gisbergen slings it wide out of turn 19. Now points their Toyotas and Chevrolets respectively into turn number 20 and back to the main straightaway they come. Main stretch that measures out at 1 full kilometer. They scream across the line. 9 laps to go. Still more than 20 miles left in this race, Matt. Plenty of time for any amount of things to happen until the finish.
Yeah, this turn 2 down the hill here does seem to be Van Gisbergen's strongest spot. He wasn't really close enough to make any inroads that lap around, as he was on the previous lap when he had a great shot from the blimp of it. But Reddick is strong in different places on the racetrack to SVG, who again takes a good chunk out of him here in the braking zone of turn 6, as we talked about at the very top of the show about Van Gisbergen's braking prowess. And he's going to need to use all of that here if he wants to wrestle away history from Tyler Reddick.
And remember, if tire degradation does come up towards the finish here, there is Van Gisbergen's tires are 1 green flag lap fresher than Reddick's. For whatever 1 lap matters at this point in a run, Matt, Christopher Bell has jumped away from Blaney, as you've been talking about. He's not a million miles away from these two. It's about 3 seconds.
He was almost 1.5 seconds faster, Bell was, than Blaney on the last lap. And Blaney actually has been passed by Ty Gibbs as we've been watching the front group. So Blaney slipping down a 5th, Gibbs getting around him. So change there as the leaders again coming towards turn number 19, and Van Gisbergen still not quite close enough to mount a real serious attack here on the race leader.
Reddick again will be the first to make it into turn number 20. Van Gisbergen, oh, he shot it in deep into 20. Might pay the price on the exit there, Matt. Oh, he went really deep into 20, and he's lost ground on the exit.
Yeah, a couple of times Reddick has been better through the final corner than SVG, I've noticed in this run. As I said, there's different strengths and weaknesses to both the either drivers or cars, or the combination of both. And that is playing out with the ebb and flow. And they don't want to ebb and flow for too long, because there's a yellow 20 car looking to see if he can back up from last year and win this race.
Yeah, Bell faster than Van Gisbergen that last lap. In fact, he was faster than both of them. He was faster than Van Gisbergen by 1.5 tenths. He was only faster than Reddick by 2/100ths. So Reddick just inching it out little by little. Bit of a bobble out of 6B from Reddick, but then Van Gisbergen did the same. Dumped those right side tires off onto the grass, did Shane. He's going pretty deep here into 12, Shane is. You do make a good point. All these road course races that he's won in the Cup Series, he hasn't had to chase someone down in the final laps. Does that change the geometry of how he wins this race today? I think it does, especially for a 45 car. Matt, that I really did not think he was going to win this race after stage 1. He dropped like a stone in stage 1, but they have made that car better, obviously.
Approaching that traffic.
Might change people's opinions of SVG if he can actually get up here and get on the wheel and get a victory and wrestle it out of someone else's hands as they come out of 19 yet again and across the stripe one more time to complete another lap. It'll be 7 to go.
Michael McDowell's tire advantage has gotten him to 5th. He's past Blaney. Boy, did Reddick really leg it out this time out of turn 20. He added 0.4 of a second to his lead on Van Gisbergen that lap, from 0.6 to a full second. And I wonder if we've just hit the point in the run, Matt, and on the tire cycle, if Shane just doesn't have anything left to really attack.
Maybe he's saving a little bit more for the last couple of laps. As you said, there's still a long way to go in terms of distance. 7 laps doesn't sound like a lot, but in distance terms, it is still quite a way. Or he's just keeping his powder dry in case there's another yellow, because he will, of course, line up on the front row for that to restart whenever it comes, if we get a yellow. Here's Ryan Blaney. He slipped to 6th. As strong as that 12 car was at the beginning of the race, it's gone the opposite way for him here towards the end.
Yeah, it's faded away from Blaney here. Down to 6th he has gone, just ahead of Hendrick cars. Larson, Byron, and Elliott line up behind. 6 to go.
Big day for Hendrick, outside of the Bowman issues.
Yeah, it has been. 6 to go the next time the leaders click across the line. By the way, give a call to some guys here as the laps wind down. Talk about some guys that we haven't talked about all day long, Matt. Denny Hamlin is 11th. He has been nowhere. Actually, he's 10th now, beg your pardon. He's been nowhere all day, and he's 10th. Wallace is 12th. He would love to get out of here with a top 12. John Hunter Nemechek, 15th. Ty Dillon, 16th. Those are really good runs for those guys who are just looking to avoid hitting the self-destruct button today.
Connor Zilich's back up to 21st on his second recovery drive of the day. After again being spun at turn 1. Gap at the line is up to a second, in fact more than 1.2 seconds now between Reddick and SVG. Has he just managed to weather the storm? 6 to go.
Going to be another weather, though. I think there will be another storm to weather before this race is up, Matt. Not sure if it'll be a host of our hurricane, but he's got another storm coming to weather, at least one more, I think.
SVG is saving. Right. He is saving.
Well, he doesn't have very long to go to stop saving and turn up the wick again. But we'll see. Tyler Reddick right now, the run that he's on is here's Chase Elliott going after Byron at 6A. Teammate battle here for 8th. Elliott's going to get through. P8 for car 9. Blaney might be losing another spot, Matt. He'll be disappointed the way this has gone down in the final 20 laps.
Yeah, Larson's all over him. And of course, we've documented Kyle's struggles throughout the day with a cool suit that is not working inside the car. And Young Money is cooked. As I hate that nickname, but I had to use it there. And he dives up the inside of Blaney this time in the left-hander in the stadium. Stiff arms, elbows, shoulder tackles his way out of there. And will he get across the front of him in the right-hander? No, not quite. Blaney will stick the nose in. He will fight this for all he's worth, but Larson looks like he has got the position.
Blaney is a stubborn foe, but Larson has cleared him, or maybe not. Blaney pulls back up alongside, out of turn 19. Larson pushes Blaney just that little bit wider, and Larson in turn 20 will have the advantage and slip through. So Larson moves up to 6th. Blaney, this is the furthest back Blaney's been on Merritt all day long, which is 7th. The lead at the front is 1.6 seconds. Tyler Reddick has stared at the whites of Shane Van Gisbergen's eyes here down the stretch of this race, Matt. And as he's done the first 2 weeks of the season, Reddick has not blinked. A fly could land on his eye and he wouldn't blink right now.
Be ready with your Captain Phillips "I am the captain now" meme if Tyler Reddick can hold this together. As Larson begins to get away a little bit from Blaney, who's going to have Chase Elliott coming at him next by the looks of things. But the gap, it says 1.6 on the timing tower, but it looks more than that to me. That was at the line, of course. So Bell is about the same sort of distance behind SVG as SVG is from Reddick. So if he's saved, as Josh has documented there, talking about saving tyres and stuff, there isn't much more time to use what you've saved and try and go after this one more time.
Yeah, if he has one more attack in him, I'm not sure the car and the tires have an attack in him, Matt. But, again, could Reddick make a mistake? The answer to that is yes, because Reddick is on tires just as old, actually 1 lap older than Shane. And all it would take would be one mistake from the 45 to let the 97 and the 20 back in. But we're so deep into this run and on the tire cycle, Matt, I think it's a race of who makes a mistake or who doesn't. 4 laps to go.
Yeah, maybe one little tire lock up here at the top of the hill or into 12. Maybe a brush with one of the tire stacks through the S's. Maybe perhaps. All things that Tyler Reddick, all the pitfalls and potholes that he's got to negate here through the last 45 laps to win again for the 3rd time this season.
Added 0.3 to his lead on that last lap from 1.6 to 1.9. Then it's another 1.9 back to Christopher Bell in 3rd. Ty Gibbs runs 4th. Michael McDowell 5th, better than he would have been had he stopped under that last green flag run and let it just cycle out. McDowell heading towards the top 5.
We'd like to think we know what we're talking about.
Yeah, we try to. Doesn't always happen that way, but we do try. And Kyle Larson with a heroic effort today, running 6th without a cool suit for the majority of this race. Temperatures in the 80s here in Austin, Texas today, and when you're in this car in this kind of heat with no cool suit, my goodness, Just feels like one of those days in Darlington, South Carolina on Labor Day when it's 102 degrees in the shade and there is no shade. Reddick coming around to 3 laps to go.
And SVG's just been told to push, push, push.
I don't think he can. I don't
think he can. I think he's gone.
Tires that are bolted on that car will allow him to push. Reddick has legged it out on this lap again. We'll see what the margin is when they cross the line. But at the start of this lap, Matt, it was 1.9 seconds. It's even larger this time. Reddick will click across the line. Then Van Gisbergen will. From 1.9, it's now 2.5.
Yeah, 0.6 of a second lost. So these last 3 or 4 laps have just not gone the way of the 97. And he's just got to really try and hold on now to make sure that Christopher Bell doesn't get within pouncing range over these last couple of laps. Shout to Ty Gibbs, 4th place. We talked about how well he went at Mexico last year and stage 2 winner. And he's managed to recycle that into what looks like going to be a top 5.
Meanwhile, change of 9th, A.J. Allmendinger passed Denny Hamlin, and both of those guys have gotten by William Byron, who has, well, dropped anchor to 11th, so it's the furthest back we've seen Blaney on merit all day, Matt. It's also the furthest back we've seen Byron on merit.
Yeah. Both of those guys have been very strong all day, as we generally tend to expect from both of them. 2 and a bit laps to go for the leaders. Here is Reddick in the left-hander of the stadium section, and now foot to the floor through the long right-hander. And he looks like, yet again on this lap, he looks like he stretched it out.
Yeah, he has. This is close to 3 seconds. It is 3 seconds, actually, as I look on my second screen up here. Yeah, it's up to 3 seconds on this lap, and it's going to be down to 2 laps to go. Tyler Reddick through turn 20 here, Matt. I know there's not 20 turns on the course as we mentioned earlier, but stick with me, it's easy math. Across the line, about 5 miles and 40 corners left for Tyler Reddick to make an enormous piece of history. He added 9/10 into his lead last lap. Just bring it back around to the white with no mistake and no caution elsewhere.
Bell will be absolutely biting the steering wheel here to try and get a piece of SVG. Mostly for the fact that his comments at the end of last year were someone needs to go up there and beat this guy, and it isn't going to be him.
No.
But he might try and wrestle second place away here at the end.
He's right behind him again.
Yeah, absolutely.
Just, did we mention earlier in this broadcast at all that Connor Zillage is set to attempt the Indy 500 and Coca-Cola 600 double next year?
No.
He's
there you go.
climbed back to 17th position on his second recovery drive. As long as he doesn't get knocked out of the way one more time, it'll be his best finish of the season, although it won't be as good as it probably should have been. Matt, Tyler Reddick snaking his way through turn 15 and just praying that he can get back to the white flag.
Whatever bet he put on in the Chumba Casino over the off-season. Let's not forget also quickly before we get into the pomp of the last lap, all of the NASCAR stuff that was happening in the fall of last year. There was talk, if it didn't go the way of 2311, Tyler Reddick was going to be a free agent if they did not have a charter. They have come back, won the first 2 races, pole position for this one, and he is one more lap away from a historical COTA win.
White flag in the air. Tyler Reddick receives it. And this will be the final lap of this race at Circuit of the Americas in Austin, Texas. Reddick is safely through turn 1 for the final time. Statistically, this is his best racetrack. 5 races here. 5 top 10s. 4 top 5s. A win in 2023. Swings and slings his Toyota Camry through the slaloms for the final time. His lead on Shane Van Gisbergen is 4 seconds. Just a few laps ago, Van Gisbergen was filling up the rearview mirrors of Reddick, trying to force a mistake. It hasn't happened. Reddick has stared him down, and we've got a crash in the front straightaway from Carson Hocevar. No caution yet. If a caution does come out, the race would be over. Hocevar is to driver's left on the pit wall, and now he gets back going. We'll call Tyler Reddick home, Matt. Final few corners for Reddick, waiting to make history.
Find out what happened to Carson Osevar shortly, because it looked like he may have been dumped there on the pit straight, but we'll catch up with that anyway in a moment. Reddick 3 corners from home for a third win in 3 weeks for something that we've never seen before. Michael Jordan will be doing the Chumba tonight. It is going to be another 23-11 victory. Tyler Reddick cannot be stopped.
Michael Jordan knows a thing or two about three-peats. He's about to be a part of a historic one here. Tyler Reddick out of turn 20 for the final time. Not Marvin Panch, not Bob Wellborn, not David Pearson, not Matt Kenseth, not Jeff Gordon, not anyone has done this, but Tyler Reddick has. Tyler Reddick has won the first 3 races of the NASCAR Cup Series season. He scores his 2nd career win at Circuit of the Americas in Austin, Texas. And Tyler Reddick has done something that has never been done before in the long 3/4 of a century plus year history of NASCAR.
A three-peat win. You can't doubt 23-11. They've come through a winter of discontent to put in an absolute barnstormer. Tyler Reddick wins for a 3rd time in a row. That's just brilliant. This season is all going to be about the points. It's all going to be about who's consistent. You've got to now say, even though we're 3 rounds into the year, that Reddick is the championship favourite.
Well, it's going to be interesting to see what plays out over the next couple of weeks. But at this moment in time, as you say, JB, no one holding a candle to 23-11. Where did Darrell Wallace Jr. finish in the end? He was in the top 15, I think. We'll check in a moment for you. Well, there you go. Pray for Darrell Wallace Jr. He finishes 11th. Tyler Reddick wins the first 3 races in a row. He's going to do a big old smoky donut down there in the stadium section. And this remarkable start to the season just continues.
We saw Alex Palou last year in the IndyCar Series season by winning 5 of the first 6 races of the year, but this stuff doesn't happen in NASCAR. I think Jamie Little's caught up with Michael Jordan again, 3rd week running. Let's go to Jamie and Michael.
You know, Tyler came in with most pressure, I guess. Everybody expected him, or he had a chance to win 3 in a row. That's the hardest one to win, you know. And he kept to his strategy, and, man, the guys put together a great car, man. And I think Billy did an unbelievable job in calling the game, calling the race, and Tyler did a good job. He beat some good competition. I mean, when you see SVG coming back there, you get a little nervous, but I think he had him covered pretty much the whole day.
Michael, the records, the wins, the trophies, what does this all mean to you as a team owner here in this sport?
Well, I'm proud of the team that we put together. I mean, Denny, I'm pretty sure it's the same way. He feels the same way as I do. And I think a lot of credit goes to him, because I think he's the mastermind behind finding Tyler and putting together, you know, Billy Scott and all that. Look, I just put up the money. I'm just a competitor. But I think Denny's done an unbelievable job in terms of helping build this team. And I think the team has done a good job in just taking our leadership and going out and winning. That's what it's about, winning.
So we're going to see you in Phoenix?
I'll be in Phoenix. I'll be in Phoenix.
How about?
I mean, if he continues showing up, they may not lose. Before this season, 23-11 had never even won back-to-back races. Now they've won 3 in a row. And Tyler Reddick with his 2nd career COTA victory, his 3rd career road course win. The other came at Road America for his 1st career win in the Cup Series, driving for Richard Childress. I mean, Matt, what more can you say? Now, these first 3 races, they are not the cookie-cutter racetracks that the season is mostly built of. It's not the meat and potatoes of the season, 2 drafting track super speedways and a road course, but that does not make it any less impressive.
Yeah, absolutely. No more smoky Goodyear tyre tracks been left on the front straightaway by Tyler Reddick. Kids on top of the race cars. Tyler's about to jump out. Michael Jordan is down there, as is, I'm sure Jamie's followed him. Oh, AJ Allmendinger was doing this before. He's laid by the side of his car. Saw that at Indianapolis a few years ago. All the celebrations, though, are on the front straightaway with Tyler Reddick and Michael Jordan.
an exhausting race, especially with the heat of the day. Cool seats have failed on multiple drivers. Alex Bowman left his car before the race. And now A.J. Allmendinger lying on his back on pit road, and hopefully he'll receive the treatment he needs to receive. Meanwhile, Tyler Reddick just climbed up on the roof of his car. He dives into a mosh pit of 2311 teammates. He's cashed it in again in the Chumba Casino car. Tyler Reddick heading to victory lane. We will try to keep you updated with the happenings on pit road with A.J. Allmendinger. Hopefully Kyle Larson's okay too. Obviously both of those made it to the finish in the top 10. Larson 6th, Allmendinger 9th. And hopefully they are okay. There's Rookie. Oh, there's Rookie. And we'll go down to hear from our race winner again, Tyler Reddick with Josh Sims.
No one has ever won 3 races to start a year. You make history here today. What does that mean to you?
It means the world. Yeah, you know, it's so fitting. You know, we get going at the end there, and I'm leading, and there's SVG, the guy I've been trying to beat for a while now, and just you know, to be able to outlast him there and hold on for the win is just, it's incredible. We just really proud of the Chumba Casino Toyota Camry, everyone at 2311. We worked really hard. We did not like getting beat like that at road courses, and it's one race, but it was so important, you know, so fitting that we were able to get 3 in a row and make history.
Bring me through those final laps, because you talk about being able to hold off SVG, who's one of the best to do it on road courses. What were the nerves like, and what were you telling yourself in that moment?
Yeah, just trying to remember everything that I knew was going to be important there at the end, and just tried to minimize the mistakes. Shane is just, that's what he's so good at, man. He does not make mistakes, and I certainly made a couple, and just doing everything I could to just manage the gap and just stay away from him, if you know what I mean. If I let him get close enough, it was going to be probably hard to hold him off.
Tyler Reddick with a 3-peat to start the year.
Michael Jordan led the Chicago Bulls to 2 3-peats of NBA championships in 1991, 92, and 93. Then he retired from the sport abruptly, then came back 2 years later and led them to another 3-peat of titles in 96, 97, and 98. Now his NASCAR team with a 3-peat to start the 2026 season, winning Daytona, Atlanta, and Austin back to back to back. And Matt, I mean, what more can you say about what Tyler Reddick has done to start this season? You know, he's actually scored more points today than he did at Daytona or Atlanta.
Well, yeah, just every single thing we talk about, just, oh yeah, okay, fine. Yeah, what? That's wild, but yeah, makes sense. So, yeah, as I said at the end there, who can stop him? It's going to take something, isn't it? That'll be the talk all week now, or going to Phoenix, of who can put one over on Tyler Reddick. 2311 have not been good at Phoenix over the past handful of years. So really going to be interesting to see what happens over this next little run of races.
Well, my gosh, it's never happened before.
No.
We love seeing sports have been going on for a long time now, Matt. Baseball, football, hockey, soccer, NASCAR. We love seeing things that have never happened before. And we just witnessed it today. And now, Matt, can you believe it? 2 years in a row, early in the season, we are heading to a race next week to see if someone can win 4 in a row.
Do you reckon he could? Phoenix is a short track circuit that he could actually do very well at.
It is a Toyota track, but it hasn't historically been a 2311 track. But it is a Toyota track for sure. Reddick has never finished better than 6th at Phoenix.
Just having a look at the A.J. Allmendinger picture again, boys, as well. He's got fluids being put into him, which is good news, and there's team around him. But I presume... Go on.
We heard, didn't we, that his cool suit had failed and his helmet hair was blowing hot.
Yeah.
So he had double the trouble going on in there.
Not good, not good. Yeah. I don't
He
think that
was
went out to
helped.
Fox. I think that went out international feed. Go on.
He was helped onto a stretcher. Was Allmendinger, who came home with a heroic 9th place finish, given the conditions.
I think a special mention was to Brad Keselowski, who didn't know if he could run this entire race and did so brilliantly. Where did he end up?
Well, he finished the race, which is
P20. That's not too bad. Well, I really enjoyed that one, and I enjoyed listening to you guys on commentary. It was a bit weird not being, play by play, but I appreciated you letting me jump in every now and then with things I had to say and random musings. It's just ticked over to Monday here, which means it's time for Betty Buys. So final thoughts from myself before you sign off, Matthew and Matt. That was a brilliant race. SVG, I think he pushed too early, then had to save, then couldn't push again, even though he was told to. Reddick, complete domination. Well, who saw that coming? I can't wait for the rest of the season. Over to you guys.
Yeah, thank you, JB. Get Wells. When I
Thank
say
you.
soon, I do mean very soon, because you have, all of it to do.
Yeah. I've got tiddlywinks on Tuesday.
AJ Allmendinger being stretchered back to the infield care center. Will also say, just to finish off something that we were saying about 20 laps to go, Christopher Bow and Kyle Larson were exchanging words on pit road. Let's go down to Regan with Shane.
Quite have enough.
Yeah, it's weird to be disappointed with second, but yeah, this series is just at a high level, and I felt okay. We got our safety culture Chevy a lot better than yesterday, but just following Tyler, his driving was immaculate and his car was very good too. So I tried, but didn't quite have enough. But still a great points day for the 97.
All right, nice job. Thanks, Shane.
Ty Gibbs. Fun for him today. Won stage 2, ended up 4th there. You were picking off cars all the way up until like 10 laps to go. How good does this run feel for you and your team?
It was really great. I had a great Toyota Camry. They helped me out so much today. So had a lot of fun, and yeah, we passed a lot of cars. Obviously, my guys Tyler and the boys did a great job on the strategy. I didn't really know what was going on because we pitted and I was in last, and then we went back up to the front, and it just is so much going on. So it gets kind of hectic. It kind of feels like Richmond with the pit cycles and everything at the end. So just stayed at it, and I don't know. I was up at the front at the end and just kept digging, and yeah, just didn't have enough time, but felt really good. Thank you to Monster Energy and everybody that helps me out in my career, and thank you to the man above, and we'll keep going and keep racing.
Great run for the 54 team today, Mike.
It was.
Yeah, Ty Gibbs, 48 points scored today, Matt. In the first 2 races of the season combined, he had scored 17. And that actually takes him up to 17th in the championship standings, does Ty Gibbs. Quick, is this? No, I thought it was going to be Bell and Larson. It wasn't. It wasn't a knockout, drag-out fight, but they were exchanging words on pit road, Bell and Larson, after another coming together on the racetrack. We're going to get out of here quickly because, as JB mentioned, it is past midnight in some areas of the world, and we will have an update of the championship standings. I know that's something that we haven't done very much early in the season, but of course this year we now have to start talking about points, and we will do it here, as here are the championship standings after 3 races. Still, it's 23-11 at the top, first and second. Tyler Reddick on 186 points leads Darrell Wallace Jr. by 70 points now. My goodness, what a huge number between first and second after just 3 races. Chase Elliott is third, 72 back of Reddick. Ryan Blaney fourth. Shane Van Gisbergen jumps up to 5th in the championship standings after a second-place finish and back-to-back top 10s.
Those bonus points for winning races are coming into the play already, aren't they? Goodness
sure
me,
are.
70 points through 3 weeks. That's wild.
Listen to this. It is the same gap from first to second, 70 points. From first to second, it's the same amount of points from Darrell Wallace Jr. second to Chase Briscoe 27th. Wow.
Nothing is not competitive.
Yeah.
minute there. What more did you need as it got down to the finish?
Yeah, I mean, I got that great restart on new tires, and I'm like, I'm in position here, baby. We're gonna go do this. And then, yeah, I just stalled out. And all race long, whenever I was on equal tires with guys, I was falling backwards. So strategy worked out. Super thankful that Adam Stevens called a really good race, got us on offense, got me a tire advantage over the field, and then I was able to salvage a good finish out of it. So. Yeah, it was an off-road course race for us. Normally we're stronger than that, and got saved by some newer tires.
And nice job, thanks.
On-air production meeting, JT, wherever you found that, if you could send that to me as soon as you have it at the end of every race, so we can get it on screen, because we do need points after every race, especially as the season gets older. It is past midnight in some places. Matt, final thoughts as we say so long to Texas and we head to Arizona next week, and change the time, by the way.
Yes, indeed so. Yeah, really good race. Congratulations again to 2311 Tyler Reddick and all of that crew on a history-making day in a, again, much for most of the weekend across all of the American motorsport, clean and not chaotic race, which again could have been, had its moments, but fairly good race, and vanquished Van Gisbergen has been beaten again.
Final thing for me is, I'm sorry to completely waste everybody's evening. The most predictable men have won both races.
Yeah.
I mean, I could have taken them both off and not, and just been completely fine. But this is, I mean, come on. IndyCar, predictable. NASCAR, predictable. Thank God Formula One's back next weekend so that we can have a bit of variety. Oh, hang on a minute.
Yes, that's what everyone said about Formula One for so long. That's the series that gives you the variety, sure. A huge thank you to JB and JT for all of their efforts today. A huge thank you, of course, to Matt. This was fun as always. We will head to Phoenix next week. We'll be on JBM and, of course, USM as well. Do subscribe to the Ultimate Sports Media channel as well. You'll get all of this with racing plus other sports. If you haven't subscribed to JBM, absolutely do that, because no channel anywhere in the world covers more racing than this channel. No person in the world watches more racing than Matt White. This was race 95, I think, for him. I think for me, sporting event 115, if I'm not totally mistaken. I can't tell you off the top of my head. Very good. JT meeting 11. Yes, JT meeting 11 of the year trackside. So for all of them and for me, Matthew Owen, signing off from Circuit of the Americas in Austin, Texas. The winner again is Tyler Reddick. No one's ever won the first 3 races of the season before today, so it kind of stands out that no one's ever won the first 4 races of the season. He'll try to do that next week and make even more history, because no one in the Cup Series has won 4 straight since Jimmy Johnson in 2007. Just put that out there right now. You know it 7 days in advance. So long from Austin, Texas, where Tyler Reddick has won again.